We get down there. And we're like, hey, back up to be restrained. We're going to take you to your holding cell. And he's just like, rips his shit off and is just like, I'm like, I remember my training. I'm like, step 1, step 2, step 3, right? I'm like, I got the steps. Whew. Door opens up. I go running in, smack the guy. Boom. Drive him into the cinder block wall in the back. I'm like holding him. Look over and I see a toilet. Screw it. I drop down, double leg, right? Pick this dude up, turn him over, and just spike his head in the toilet. These toilets are steel. And his forehead hits like right into the edge of the toilet and just goes poof, and splits open.
Oh, no.
Blood just goes whoosh, knocks him out cold. And I'm like, oh, this isn't going according to plan. Like, this is bad.
Abort. Austin, I'm excited for this one.
It's going to be good.
I wanted to have this conversation because I love everything corrections, anything prison related, because there's such a controversial side to it. I feel like when you get into the bowels and the depths of the facilities, how they're run, obviously I feel correctional officers have one of the shittiest jobs, just because of who you're dealing with, how you're dealing with it, and the corruption that happens inside. And you did a long time. You did several years in the maximum security. Then you did an emergency response team. So you've got to experience a little bit of everything inside of the prison life.
Yeah.
Which I personally love these stories. They blow my mind every time. I've had a good buddy of mine now, Victor, on. He did 10 years here in the prison system, in and out, all kinds of gang related, and listening to him talk from an inmate side of things like just opened up my mind, my thought on what's actually happening, how these guys are treated. And obviously you're no longer with it, so which I love because there's no holding back.
Yeah. And I've had time to like look back and say, holy crap, that was crazy. Like now the dust is settled. At the time I was like, this is just life. I do this every day. It's no big deal. And now I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, we had to do what? So before we get started, obviously we're going to be sending you home with the most amazing sourdough from the kids, which is from the Sour Bee. These are fresh out of the oven. So I know you're going home with white chocolate raspberry. Then I have a really awesome company. What I try to do here on the podcast, no matter how big or small we are, I want to give veteran law enforcement, first responders a chance, if they have small businesses, to send us gear or anything like that. So this is from Yup Clothing. They're a veteran-owned company. And they just come out with cool phrases and sayings. And so, yeah, I like to shout out dudes.
Dude, I love it.
That are out there just trying to make it. And so I feel if more platforms did this, we would help a lot more smaller businesses grow and get their name out there. So
love it.
Something we like to do is send you home with some swag and some bread. So,
well, I don't have much for you, but back in the day, we did a limited run of the IDOC Emergency Response Team Challenge coins. And so I've had that one for, I don't know, almost 20 years now.
You don't have to give this up, dude.
15 years? Yeah, 15 years. And so, no, I have one more. And so I want you to have that one because it's so funny, man. And all this time, the conversations about prisons usually just happen like around a campfire or when you're sitting on my back porch. But like nobody's ever asked me to talk about it on a podcast.
Because you're a huge hunter, you're an outdoorsman. That's how we connected years ago through the outdoors. I don't give a fuck about any of that.
Yeah. People don't know. Most people don't know about this side of me.
Well, you had commented on something and you're like, yeah. And I was like, get your ass on the show.
It was a menace, dude. Like people don't know this side of me. And so this is going to be really fun to talk to. And so that was just a way of me saying like, thank you for the opportunity. Because I think what's exciting to me too, aside from just talking about experiences and crazy stories and all the things, is I think this is going to help bring awareness to the fact that like corrections really is the shittiest job in the world.
Yeah, it's
like
up there,
it is
for sure.
Brutal. And there's all these people out there doing it that are just underthanked, underpaid, underappreciated, undertrained for sure. And so anything I can do to try and like bring some awareness to them, I'm all in.
Perfect.
So,
yeah. which we have a lot of questions. We put it out on social. There's some good questions that we're going to dive into. So let's just start off like we do every episode, man. Where are you from?
Yeah, I moved to Boise my freshman year of high school. Prior to that, I was in Kentucky.
You're a Kentucky boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why, because you were stationed there, weren't you?
No.
Did you spend some time there, though?
Little bit here and there, not very much, though. No.
Yeah, so I grew up in, like, South Central Kentucky.
Okay.
So I wasn't, like, I didn't speak Appalachian. I didn't, like, I still spoke English. But, but, like, living in Kentucky is just crazy, man. It's completely different.
It's its own world.
But the people are, like, salt of the earth. Take the shirt off their back for you. And so when I moved to Idaho, it was like culture shock.
For sure.
Just everything was different. The pace of life, the scenery, the way people spoke, the interactions with people. Mm-hmm. Like, when I grew up, it was like, yes, sir, no, ma'am, direct eye contact. It was very kind of formal in that sense. And then when I came here, my freshman year, I'm like looking at my teachers in the eye saying, yes, ma'am. And they're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you trying to be disrespectful? I'm like, no, I promise. Yeah. And so, but I've loved Idaho, man. I've loved it. Been here for over 20 years now. And, just don't ever think I can leave now.
It's a pretty incredible spot.
Yeah.
It's not what it used to be, unfortunately. And it is changing every day, which it sucks because, when we got here, we didn't even know there was like a boom. We didn't even know Idaho was a thing. I had a job opportunity. The boss called me. He's like, I need you in Idaho. And I'm like, all right, what the hell's in Idaho? So we moved here, and then it was like Californians and Washington scumbags. And we're like, I don't know. I'm telling the wife, I'm like, hey, shut up. We're from here. Where are you from?
The license plate as fast
immediately.
as possible.
Exactly. And so it sucks looking, even us being here like 10 years, and it's just, you've seen the changes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's unfortunate, but that's part of life. And now everything's just so damn expensive. If you didn't get in when you got in, you're good luck. So unless you got that Cali money from selling your house, but it is what it is.
Crazy.
Well, dude, let's jump right into it.
Okay.
What made you want to be a correctional officer?
There's not like a really good answer for this other than watching a lot of Lock Up Raw on TV. Do you remember that show?
Yes.
That show was the coolest.
Yes.
And I remember being, 15, 16 years old, late at nights on like school nights, staying up and watching it on, I don't even remember what channel it was, but it was like just back-to-back episodes. Mm-hmm. And I was just fascinated by like the gangs and the drugs and the violence and all the things. I'm just like, this is so crazy. And I kind of always had in my head that like, man, working in a prison seems like it'd be awesome, but I don't know the first thing about it. Like, I don't even know where to apply. I don't know anything. Mm-hmm. Fast forward a little bit, maybe a year or two, I find out one of my best friend's moms works for the Department of Corrections, like in the headquarter office. So she's not, she doesn't work in the prisons. She's like an admin, right? And I'm like, wait, what? Like, tell me everything. Like, tell me everything. And she's like, well, we just had a riot, and like the inmates like took over a unit, and they pushed all the staff out, and they lit the unit on fire, and like people went to the hospital. And I'm like, whoa. Like, are you serious?
Like, this is really
this happens in real life, like here in Idaho? And she's like, yeah, this just happened. And I'm like, okay, I don't know where like my life is going. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I know at some point, like, I'm going to prison. Like, I will be in prisons, right? And so I made that decision pretty early on. Like, I was going to work in a prison. Well, back then you had to be 21, right? Now it's 18,
which is terrifying,
bro. 18?
18-year-old kid, and you're in with max.
What I did, bro.
Stupid. Whoever made that decision is.
I'll tell you why they did.
Then again, they're sending 18-year-olds to war. So
yeah. So I'm like, all right, I gotta wait till I'm 21. So I'll go to school and like just kind of like get life moving a little bit. So I got married at 20. I was going to Boise State, and like right when I turned 21, I was applying to the Department of Corrections.
Really? So you knew?
Right when I knew I was gonna do it. I wanted to so bad. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know people out there. I didn't have like an in or anything. But the good thing about the Department of Corrections is like, if you want a job, go get a job. Like, they are literally always hiring.
I don't think they've ever been overstaffed.
No,
ever.
Dude, no. No way. And so, yeah, it was like I went, I applied, I did an interview, and they were just like, yeah, we'll call you back. And they called me back, and they're like, hey, your start date is in like a couple weeks.
Start date for what? School?
So I can tell you exactly. I think I applied in October, my birthday, and I started in January. So I started like 3 months later.
Okay.
And back then, it may have changed now, but back then, this would have been in January of 2011.
Okay.
What you did is you would go out for about 2 weeks prior to going to the police academy. In the 2 weeks, you were assigned like a training officer, and you just shadowed them. You just followed them around, right?
In the prison?
In the prisons.
Okay.
And the reason they do this is because they were having such a turnover problem. They still do, but like such a turnover problem because there was no exposure to prisons prior to this. You would get hired.
They're spending all this money.
You'd get hired. You'd get trained. You'd go through post. You'd get your certification. And then all of a sudden they'd throw you out into prisons and you're like, holy shit. Like, I'm out. This is insane, right?
So this is the opposite of the military. They don't want.
Yeah, they're like, no,
You're in.
we need you to sign on the dotted line.
Gotcha. You know, like,
Yeah.
okay.
And so they would do this. In those 2 weeks, it was like, there was like zero commitment, right? So you could back out at any time. And it was like,
Okay, this is pretty nice.
yeah, and so it was cool. It was like, and we had a ton, we lost a ton of people.
I would
right?
imagine 100%.
And so, you know, you go to your little orientation and they assign you a prison. And as soon as I found out I was going to Max, I was just like, yes, like this is what I've always wanted, you know? Because I had some other guys in my class that were like hard charger, like young fit guys who were just like ready. And they were like, oh, you're going to the minimum security prison. You're going to the women's prison. They're just like, what? You know?
Okay.
So I don't really know how that all shook out, but man, I got assigned to Max and I was just like, this is
You
beautiful.
said you do the 2 week intern before going to the police academy.
Yeah.
You went there back then. They were sending you through the police academy.
Yeah, so we went to post. We went to the post academy. But you didn't do the full patrol academy.
Okay.
They had a separate corrections academy. And I want to say that my corrections academy, I think it was 5 weeks.
How was the corrections academy?
Yeah, I mean, it was like whatever. You don't learn anything about prisons. It's all like policy based, right? So so it's like understanding a use of force continuum, right? You start here and then you can like work your way up and right. So it's like you're learning the policies, you're learning the laws, you're learning the black and white of corrections.
Got it.
None of that really helps you when you're in prison.
On the
Right?
floor,
Yeah. But like you got to do it, right? And so yeah, I did my job shadow stuff, and I remember when I was doing my 2 weeks of job shadowing. This is really like what locked me in, right?
Okay.
So I don't remember. It was towards the end. I think I'd been there for about 2 weeks and I hadn't really seen much. Like it hadn't been crazy. I do remember the first time walking up and just seeing, you know, when you walk up to Max, there's two probably 12-foot fences of like 10 rows of razor wire, and there's like an electric monitoring thing around it. There's a patrol vehicle that goes around. I think it's locked down tight, right? And you get buzzed in the outer gate, and then you get buzzed in the inner gate, and the gates are slamming behind you, and it's kind of like sets in that like, this is no joke. Like
we're in here.
Yeah, like this is no joke. Like they're trying to keep bad people in here.
Yeah.
And I think that like realization kind of hits home the first day you walk in. Like, oh, you know.
You talk first day as in this is you're officially hired.
Still on train. Like still my 2 weeks.
So even during your 2 weeks of training, they took you to Max?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wait till I tell you the story.
So you're not even an official CO. You're just like, hey, I want
shadowing my guy.
I want to see if I like this. And they take you to Max.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. It gets better.
Okay. This is wild already.
So I'm like a week and a half into my 2 weeks, and I'm liking this, but I still haven't really seen anything crazy, right? I've heard the gates slam. I'm there. I'm you know, this is how fast stuff goes down in prisons. It's a normal day. Nothing's happened. It's just like every other day.
I love this.
All of a sudden, I'm standing at a window to go out onto a tier, right? And a tier is like a big housing unit.
Okay.
And in this unit, or on this tier, there's 32 doors. 16 upstairs, 16 downstairs.
A tier would be considered a block?
Yeah. So a block would be 3 tiers.
Okay.
A block is like the whole housing block.
Okay.
Usually with like 96 inmates on it. And then a tier would be one of 3 sections.
Okay.
Right? So it's just one section. And in this particular unit I was in, everybody's locked down. 23 hours a day, segregation. It's where they had death row is there, right? So like one person in a cell, and when they come out of their cell, they're all in wrist restraints behind their back, and they're escorted by a staff, right? I mean, it is like lockdown. We call that administrative segregation.
Okay.
So I'm standing at this door. I'm looking out. I'm with an officer, and all of a sudden I see this female officer who's escorting somebody just get hucked, like just get thrown. And I see her just like literally like up in the air and like sail. And I'm like, what the hell? And the inmate had slipped out of his restraints. So, he's restrained behind his back. He slips out, grabs on her, hucks her, and then takes off sprinting at the inmate ahead of him. So the inmate ahead of him is restrained also. And he doesn't know this guy's coming up behind him and just gets sucker punched like in the back of the head. Boom! And when he gets hit, he still has a restraint on his wrist, right? Because he slipped out of him.
Okay.
The restraint that's on his wrist like opens up. And so now you have this like bladed edge of the restraint. You know how like on a handcuff, how they pivot around? So the open edge of the restraint like comes over and like hooks into the guy's face and is like ripping his front of his head open. And so he's just like gets on top of this dude and is just like bang, bang, bang in the back of his head. Just pop, 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 like hitting him so fast. And I'm standing at the window just like, this is like happening so fast. And I'm just, what is going on? And blood's just like out of this guy's face. I was like, holy shit. And the woman I'm with a female staff member. She's just like, open the door. And the door pops open. And so as we're running out onto the tier, the staff member who was holding on to the guy getting punched.
The woman that got thrown. Oh, to the guy that got
she's
punched?
still like out of the picture, right? Okay. This is like happened in the space of like 5 to 7 seconds. Okay. He's like spraying OC, and he's not trying to get into this fight, right? Because this guy's got a like sharp weapon on his hand. So he's like spraying OC, like yelling at him and stuff. And me and this female officer go running out onto the tier, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm just like,
I'm in training.
Look,
I'm not even officially hired yet.
Watch, I guess. And so I'm like coughing on the OC and, trying not to get blood on me and stuff. And it's chaos, right? And it's still chaos. We're trying to get guys on the ground. And all of a sudden, like a few seconds later, like reinforcements start running in, right? And this dude comes running in, and I'm just like, who is this? Like, this guy's like jacked and he's huge. And he comes running in and just like grabs this dude, throws him on the ground, pushes this guy, throws him on the ground. And like, there's OC everywhere. Everyone's coughing. And he's just like, just like, I love this. And I'm just like, who is this guy? And so like dust settles. We get the whole thing taken care of. Separate the inmates. The guy who got attacked has his face all busted up. We get him out on the rec yard and we're like waiting for medical attention to come stitch him up and shit. And we're like, what the hell is that about? And he's like, I don't know, man. I'm not talking to you guys. We're like, pretty standard, right? Like, I'm not saying anything to you. We're like, all right, whatever. And he's like, we're holding him. He's got his head down, blood's gushing out of his head. And he's like, hey, give me a towel. And we're like, I'm watching, right? I have nothing to say. I'm just an observer. I'm watching this just like, this is chaos. Like, this is insane. I love it, but like, it's insane.
Yeah.
And he's like, give me a towel. And the sergeant there is like, no, I ain't getting you shit. Like, you could just, like, one of my staff just got hurt. Like, no, like, you can bleed on your shoes. I don't care. And he's like, if you don't give me a towel, I'm going to start fucking people up. And I'm like, are we about to go for round 2? Like, are we about to do this again? And he's like, I'm not getting you a towel. Like, I don't care if you're bleeding on yourself or your shoes. Like, shut up, So this guy now starts like, okay, like, I'm going to like start.
He's escalating.
Yeah. So he starts spinning himself up. And this is the dude that just been attacked, right? This sergeant comes over and he like reaches under his restraints and he grabs this dude by the back of the head, right? So he's like palming the back of his head. And he walks him out of the cell where we are. We're out on the rec yard. He walks him out of the cell and just bashes his face into the glass door. He's so bloody, dude. Like, can't even see his face. Bashes him into the window. Blood just like, poof. And he's like, you think you're tough, motherfucker? You want to threaten my staff? Like, I will kill you. And I'm just like, whoa.
Like,
This just escalated.
I didn't learn any of this. These are all new tactics.
So he like bashes this dude. And I'm like, whoa. All of a sudden medical shows up. And so they get him out and they start stitching him up. And the sergeant's like, let's go ahead and leave that one off our reports, huh? And I'm like, are we serious? Like, okay, you know?
Yeah, if you say so.
And, you know, so obviously in a lot of this, like, I'm going to leave people's names out. But like,
sure.
When that happened, I was kind of like, okay, like, I get it. Like, there's a policy. Our first and foremost is like, we're going to keep ourselves, other inmates safe.
Yeah.
We're going to keep the facility secure. And whatever means have to happen between those two things, we got to kind of do what we got to do.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, the report says one thing, the camera may say one thing, the truth is probably going to be something different.
100%.
I learned that my first week.
100%. And then you have the whole inmate side, his version of what happened.
Yeah. So then I go to post, and I go to the police academy, do my 5 weeks there.
You haven't even done the
No,
academy?
because I still haven't been there, right? This is all on my pre-service.
you're right. Okay,
my pre-service.
okay.
So I go to the
Holy
police
shit.
academy, and they're like, everything's black and white. There's no gray area. It's like policy, and if you're outside of policy, you're breaking the law, and like you will be investigated, and this and blah 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 blah.
You're
blah.
like,
I'm like, I wasn't saying shit. I was like,
no.
I was like, yeah.
okay. Yeah. Oh, we just, for training purposes,
Yeah.
this is
Like,
how we're going to do it.
I'm like, I know what you guys are doing. So I go back out to Max. I finish my thing, my post.
Yeah.
I go out to Max, and in my head, I'm like, I want to be that guy that came out on the tier, and that everyone was like, as soon as he came out, everything just like, whew, just like the temperature came down, and everyone was like, okay, we're gonna be safe. Like, someone who actually knows what the hell they're doing is here.
Yeah.
So I get back out there. I go find him, and I'm like, talk to me. Like, who are you? What do you do? And like, why was that all of a sudden just easier when you showed up? And he's like, look, 99% of people that work for the Department of Corrections are the exact same. They're the exact same. They're filling a role. They're a body. They're checking a box. They're showing up, and they're doing their thing. He's like, there's about 1% of people who are going to keep the rest of everyone else here safe. Like,
No shit.
They're the 1% who like people are going to call when like shit goes down.
Okay.
If you want to be a 1%, like a piece of that, he's like, just follow me. And I'm like, okay, done.
You were sold.
I was sold, dude. And like, I remember the conversation, dude. We were standing in the very front entry, like in the front foyer at Max. And I was just like, yes, like, tell me what I need to do. Tell me where to go, where to be, when. I'm there.
Was this guy liked by everybody, or was
He
he
was loved by everybody.
really? Okay.
He was hated by administration.
Always.
100%.
Always.
Should have been probably a lieutenant, but was a corporal.
Okay.
Right. So it's like officer, corporal, sergeant, lieutenant. Right. So he, but everybody at that facility loved this guy. He had the confidence, not just the confidence, but like the means to back up the confidence. One of the very first lessons I learned in prisons stems from that, where it's like, when you're a new staff member, a new officer, and you're walking out on the tier, nobody gives a shit who you are. They don't care what you did prior. They don't care if you were in the military. They don't care if you were prior law enforcement. They don't care if you're 45 or 21. Like, they don't care. You are nobody. But I would see these guys walking around, and just like certain people were respected by all the inmates. Like, they didn't mess with them. They didn't talk shit to them. It was like a mutual respect. And I'm like, how do you get to that point? Like, what is that? You know,
To have the respect of inmates.
have the respect of inmates.
Obviously, there's something.
Something, right?
Yeah.
Because when I walk out by myself, people are like, pussy. yeah. Like, I'm getting made fun of every time I come out.
I was gonna ask you how was it as a brand new 21-year-old walking into a maximum security facility as a correctional officer? How were you treated?
They were relentless, dude. They were relentless. They made fun of me all the time. Like, and it was stupid stuff. Like, I probably weighed, going into it, I was like, I want to get huge. Like, I want to be a monster. I probably weighed like 230 pounds.
Oh, really?
And I wasn't fat. I was like,
Yeah.
I was pretty big. But I just had like really big arms and shoulders. But like my chest wasn't very big.
They picked it apart.
They would be like, why would you bench press every once in a while? Like, it's like they were just like relentless. Like anything they could find that they could tell would get under your skin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't talk to me like that. No. It's so stupid. And they would make fun of me relentless, right?
Yeah.
And so I was just like, all right, you know what? Like, I'm just going to keep biding my time and I'm going to learn from the right people. Okay. Because there's a lot of people out there who had been there for a while, but like, I could tell just didn't have that like killer instinct. They didn't have the drive. They didn't have like, they were the 99% that he had told me about.
They're just filling a role.
Spot,
Yep.
right? So I started like doing and emulating the things that I saw from those 1% people.
Okay.
So anytime like an opportunity to train would come up, boom, I would take it. And so I just started taking on everything I could. Like anytime someone would pop up, hey, we're doing advanced cell extraction training. Boom, I'm in. Like sign me up. Let's do it. And so I started doing all these things. So before I get into this, I got to give you the caveat that, you know, back in this time, it may have changed a little bit since then, but back in this time, when a new correction officer got hired, you got hired at $13.14 an hour.
Oh my.
13, 14. This isn't that long ago. This
God.
is 2010.
Okay.
So guys would get hired. It was just after the recession. And so we were getting a lot of guys who were like former construction guys, painters, like labor guys, blue collar guys who were used to making a lot of money.
Now they're making 13.
Now they're making $13 an hour doing this. And so guys, we had I think the statistic was 80% of people didn't make it a full year. 90% of people didn't make it 18 months. Right?
In the correctional facilities.
Yes.
That's wild.
80%. So there's this kind of like resistance to welcome new people.
Oh, because these inmates it's a revolving door of correctional officers.
100%.
Okay.
They're like, screw you. I'm not even going to take, like,
No,
you're not even worth
You're not even
my,
going to be here.
you're not going to be here. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the same thing with staff. It was both
makes
staff
sense.
and inmates.
Okay.
The staff who had been there for like 5 years are like, I'm not even going to learn your name till you've been here for a year because you're going to be gone in 3 weeks.
So the whole work environment, obviously, being in a correctional facility or a prison is toxic, but then you're adding the cyclic rate of turnover.
Yeah.
So you don't even really have like friends in there because they don't even want to get to know you because 80% are going to be quit before.
Yeah. It was so hard to make friends because and you need that, right? You need the camaraderie.
Yeah.
But like, you don't get it. You'd go into a unit to work and you're like, oh, I've never seen any of these people before, but like, hey guys, you know, like let's be safe today. So that was hard. That was a challenge. So I'm like,
Let's all come together.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay. I found out that to be on the emergency response team, you had to be there for a year.
Okay.
So I was like, minimum, I'm being here a year. Like, I don't know what the future holds, but at minimum, I will make it a year. So I do some training and stuff, and I do like some cell extraction training and some use of force training and some different things in my first couple months. But the thing about IMS, the maximum security prison, I'll give you a little history here. They had some really bad stuff happen in like the 90s, the early 2000s, and then even as we got into like the late 2008, 2009, there's some really nasty stuff that happened.
You're talking riots, killings,
riots,
that kind of stuff? Okay.
murder. Like one of my really good friends got stabbed in 2008. A staff member got stabbed in the neck and in the face on one. Yeah. And so the state was like, we're locking this prison down.
Okay.
Like we are done. That is one thing that I will give the state of Idaho. You know, as I'm talking about corrections, the state of Idaho is a really good place to do prison time. Like it really is.
Okay.
When you compare it to like Mississippi or Louisiana, Alabama, right? Idaho's a good place to do prison time.
Okay, yeah, I would agree.
But the caveat to that is Idaho does not mess around.
Okay.
Like if you want to come in and be a shit, like we're going to give it to you.
Okay.
You know? And so the state of Idaho, just prior to when I started was like, the maximum security prison from here on, like we are locking this place down. every cell in this prison is now going to be single cell, administrative segregation. Nobody comes out of their cell unless they're in restraints. Like, we are done with staff assaults and prison assaults and all these things, right?
Makes sense.
And so what they did is they locked this place down. And then it was like, if guys in another prison stabbed somebody, okay, you're going to go sit in ad seg for a year, right? In other states, it's like you might do a month or two in the hole and then you get out.
Right back to it.
Idaho's like, no, we ain't doing that. Like, we are cutting down on the violence and all the nonsense.
Did that actually work? Or
Oh, yeah.
I guess
because that's what. Okay. Yeah. So when I started, the administration in prisons were all these old school guys who came through that.
Okay.
So my prison administration back then was like, there's zero tolerance in this facility. It was so like, it was crazy, dude. So much so that if you were escorting somebody and somebody just like even turned their head to look at you, you would slam them on the ground.
Really?
Like, slam them. Like,
really?
Zero tolerance, dude.
Okay. How are the inmates receiving that?
Oh, they knew. Like, they were respectful.
Okay.
They knew. Like, if I slip up this much, like, my teeth will be on the concrete.
Okay.
And that was like, we made that so clear.
Really?
And so if someone was like standing behind their door saying like, when you pull me out, like, I'm going to do this and this and this, it's like, you do realize like if that happens, like, you're going to be spitting your teeth out, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, yep. And I'm like, okay, pull them out. Boom, teeth, it was like, they knew. And for the most part, we didn't have issues.
Okay.
Except for, the occasional one-off little thing. So IMSI is like one of the safest prisons in the state for several years. So when I started, people were kind of like, yeah, this place back in the day used to be really fun. Like, it used to be crazy. And now we're so like, the control is so tight and like the zero tolerance for stuff, like, it's kind of boring. And I'm like, really? I don't want to do boring. Like, I want to have fun. Like, I want chaos. Like, I want to be in the shit. So about 6 months into me working there, something changed. I don't know what it was, but something changed.
Okay.
6 months in, I'm like, just normal day. All of the emergency response guys, like the high speed dudes, they're all out training. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the prison. I've been there for about 6 months. And a guy comes in from Canyon County. He was a Native American dude, had some mental health problems. And he came in because he did a serious staff assault over in Canyon County. And Canyon County was like, we can't house this guy. Like, he's too much, too dangerous, whatever. So they brought him to us. And so we get him in, and the shift commander was like, hey, we need to put an emergency response team together to like go get this guy from the receiving area where he comes out and get him into a holding cell. But all the emergency response guys are gone. So like, Austin, we need you to be a part of this team. And I'm like, well, I've never done this before, but like, sign me up, dude. Like, I'm all in. Mm-hmm. So it was me and two other dudes. Now, the fact that we were in this era of like, just smash everyone first and ask questions later really worked to my benefit, because we didn't use OC, like, we didn't use pepper spray. We didn't use anything. Like, we didn't try and really communicate all that much. We were just like, no, let's just use force every time. Because like, everyone understands that, So we get down there and we're like, hey, back up to be restrained. We're going to take you to your holding cell. And he's just like, steps back from the window and like rips his shit off and is just like, I'm just like, oh, hell yeah. Like, this is so good.
I've been waiting for this.
This is my dream, right? But in my head, I'm like, okay, I remember my training, like, go in the cell, you hit him, you pin him up against the wall, and then like, and I'm like walking through, I'm like, step 1, step 2, step 3, right? I'm like, I got the steps. So me and these two dudes, door opens up, I go running in, smack the guy, I like drive him into the cinder block wall in the back, boom, and I'm like holding him, I'm like, okay, step 1, done. I'm like, step 2, like, secure the arms. I'm looking over. I look over at this arm, and he's just like punching the dude in the face. Just boom, boom, boom. I'm like, well, that's not step 2. I look over at this arm, and he's choking the dude with the other arm, right? So he's choking one guy and punching the other guy.
And you have him wrapped
and
up.
I'm like pinning him up against the wall. And I'm like, oh, this isn't going according to plan. Like, this is bad.
Abort.
And in my head, I'm like, is this like an escalation of force? Right? It's my first force incident. Like, I don't really know, but I'm like, this isn't good. So out of the corner of my eye,
time to figure this out.
This is like happening in real time, right? I'm like, this is bad.
Yeah.
So I like look over and I see a toilet, and I'm like, well, I guess I could like spike his head in the toilet and like probably end this pretty quick, you know? So I'm just like, screw it. I drop down, double leg, right? Pick this dude up, turn him over, and just spike his head in the toilet. And his forehead hits like right, and these toilets are steel. And his forehead hits like right into the edge of the toilet and just goes poof, and splits open.
Oh, no.
Knocks him out cold. Blood just goes whoo. And so he's like laying face down in a huge pile of blood, not moving. And I'm like, oh shit. Like I'm screwed, dude.
I'm getting fired. I just killed this dude. Yeah, 100%.
Like, I'm fired.
100%.
I'm fired. So we restrain the guy, stitch him up, get him to a cell. And all these like planned use of force events are videotaped. And then after you finish them, you go into like a debriefing with like the prison admin, the shift commanders, everybody, and you watch it and you like digest everything and you debrief and here's what you did wrong and whatever. So I'm just like, oh gosh, like this is bad. This is really bad.
Not gonna be good.
Not good. Mm-hmm. So we get in the debrief, watch the video, get to the part where I'm like, this is bad. This is bad. And I'm like, I know what's coming. Here it is, spike, drop. And I'm just like, oh gosh, like I'm getting fired. I've only been here 6 months, you know? And I kind of do this sheepish, like, looking around the room.
So, we good?
What's happening? And the lieutenant sitting next to me is like, how long you been here? I'm like, 6 months. And she's like, that was one of the best techniques I've ever seen.
Really?
I'm like, come again? You know? And then the shift commander's like, hey, you do what you got to do. Like in those situations, like you saw the opportunity to like end it and you ended it. Good job. And I'm like, so I'm not fired? Like literally, I'm like, so I'm not getting fired? And they're like, what? Like,
actually, you're promoted.
I was employee of the year that year.
Oh my God.
So I'm literally, I'm like, I'm not getting fired? I'm like, no, that was perfect. I'm like, I'm home. Like, this is home. This is the greatest place of all time. Literally from that cell extract, like that planned use of force event, it was like the prison, like administration, the staff, everybody was just like, hey, come on, bro. Like you're one of us now.
Okay. So you got accepted at that point.
And then it was like, and then I told you like IMSI, that's the name of the prison, IMSI. IMSI had been so boring and locked down. I don't know what it was, but after that use of force, all of a sudden it was like the inmates were like, you know what? Like, we ain't doing this no more. Like, we've been locked down for like 3 years. Like, nah. And we were banging like every single day, dude.
How? Okay, so
every single day, dude.
During a lockdown, is it getting them out of their cells? Is that when all of this was coming?
All of it. It was insane, dude. It was like every single day someone would just be like, you know what? Today's like like today's my day. I'm covering up my window and like, come get me. Like,
really?
Every day, dude. It was crazy. I really think it was just people got bored. People got bored and they realized that like, you guys are going to treat us like shit, whether we're good or bad. So like, let's have fun. And if we can take a couple of you guys out with us while we're doing it, like, so what?
Really? That's the mindset.
It was crazy, dude.
That's not terrifying. Like every day you go to work, you're just okay. How many fist fights am I gonna get?
Oh, listen, we'll get there, right? I'm still 6 months in at this point. Okay, I'm 6 months in.
Tip of the iceberg.
So this is going right, and it's just like little by little, I'm getting my hands dirtier and dirtier and more and more. After my first year, I get off probation, and they have this job opening, where they're like. The job is called response and escort officer.
Okay.
And there's like an official like job description for it, but they were like, hey, we want you in this role and we're basically just going to kind of use you where we need you. So like when stuff pops off, you don't have to like leave your unit. I wasn't assigned to a unit. I was assigned like to the facility and I could respond.
That makes it fun.
Bro, it was the best. because for a whole year, I was just their hammer.
Really?
It was awesome.
That's
So for a whole year
I can get behind that.
on day shift, I'm just the department's like, hey, we need a guy to go like do this. Okay.
What is
like,
this?
You name it, dude. It was like we had everything happen, man. We had, I remember one time walking in a cell or walking in a unit because I'd go just like hang out and help out and stuff. And I was in A block one time and we walked by a cell and this guy is swimming in like 5 feet of water. He'd like made a pool in his cell.
What?
And literally, he had jammed like playing cards, right? Like a deck of cards. He jammed cards into the door to like wedge it shut so that it couldn't open. And then he had jammed like, he'd made like this like paste almost to like paste off the door frame so the water couldn't escape. And then just started flooding his cell. And we didn't know it, right? And so like the water just keeps flooding and flooding. And all of a sudden, like, I don't know how much time it took to fill the cell. The dude was legitimately swimming. And we're like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I'm swimming. Just like, I'm swimming. We're like, well, like,
Open
get
the
this
door.
shit out. Like, no. And he's like, no, I'm swimming. Like, come get me if you want me to stop. Like, I'm swimming.
Fascinating.
And so, yeah, we had to get a Halligan tool, pry the door open, full deluge of water, and we were on the upstairs.
So it's pouring down.
It's a waterfall off the upper deck, waterfall. And as we're going in, and he'd like put a bunch of soap and shit in there, and so now it's like a bubble bath, but it's like slick. So we're going in trying to like swim through the water to like get our hands on this guy, and it's just a mess, And then the opposite, we had guys that would like pile all their shit in the middle of the cell and like light it on fire. They'd rip the
How is that a good idea?
Oh, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was like IMSI went from the most boring prison on the planet to all of a sudden people were just like, nah,
Not today.
not anymore. It was chaos, dude. And so for that year, I was like, it was perfect for me, right?
for
Because
sure.
I was young, I was hungry, I was like kind of angry, right? And just like, I felt like I had to prove myself to everybody. Like,
Piss and vinegar.
Yeah, where it's like,
you're just
I want you, like, you guys are gonna respect me one way or another, right? And so I just felt like I had something to prove to everybody, and it was chaos, man.
I could only
It
imagine.
was chaos.
Have you ever had shit or piss thrown at you?
Oh, so many times.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's so many ways people do it, man.
You say that so just
It was.
daily thing.
I'm telling you, this prison was crazy. So the piss and shit thing is very common.
Really?
Yeah. And like there's the worst way it would happen was people would get a milk carton.
Okay.
And then they would piss and shit in it and they would like mix it up, right?
Like a milkshake in it?
Yeah. And then they would put it into the crack of the door jamb, right? It's the opening. So then when you would walk by, they'd go bam.
No.
Poof. It would blast through the door and
No.
you'd just like gas you. Yeah, you just poof in the face as you would walk by. Yes, dude. That never happened to me, but that happened. I can think of 2 occasions that happened to people.
I'm murdering somebody at that
100%.
point.
Yeah, I more often than the piss and shit was spit.
Oh.
I actually thought I killed a guy one time and like legitimately killed, and I was terrified. Like, I'm serious, dude. Like, you want to talk about being scared? Like, think that you went too far and that you're like, oh, I'm picking up murder charges.
Committed.
Dude, this guy one time, man, I was putting him into a cell, and he was a known spitter. And usually with known spitters, you put a spit hood on them,
Yep.
right? And it covers it's like mesh from the nose up, and then they can't spit it's like covered from the nose down. So we usually put a spit hood on these guys. Well, after like a couple months without an incident, you take it off. So I'm escorting this guy, and I have in the back of my head, like, if he even flinches my direction, game over. Sure enough, dude. I'm taking him to medical, like down to the medical facility. As he's going into the cell, I hear like do the spit sound, and I see his head turn. I'm like, nope. And he was kind of a smaller guy, and I'm holding on to his arm, And so I pick him up and I'm sweeping the leg like all in one motion, right? I like do this pick up sweep. And as he's doing the spit, I don't know if it was like a mixture of me picking him up, but like he kind of jumped. I think he was trying to like get out of my grip to like turn. So he jumped as I'm picking him up. So he's now like probably 18 inches off the ground as I'm slamming him. And he goes face first with like every bit of muscle I can muster. KOs this dude. And I'm like, oh no. And I grab onto his leg and I'm like, oh, he is like a noodle. And I'm like, hey, like I roll him over. I'm in medical. So I'm like, oh, I need some medical help. And they're like, first, like give him a titty twister. That's like one of the, that was like one of the things you would do. You'd give him a titty twister. And if that didn't work, you'd like do the sternum check and, you know, all these stupid things. So I'm like double titty twisters, like doing, and like nothing. I'm like, I killed him. Like, that's not a good feeling. That's terrifying, right? And stuff like that, man, I'm telling you, like, it was just, when I say it was chaos, it was like that every single day. And the other thing is, it wasn't always like force-related stuff, right? It was like the force-related stuff was happening almost every day. You factor in the fact that you have acute mental health, like people that are just so glinked that no amount of medication can like right the ship, right? It's like gone. The cheese is off the cracker.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much for them to just, you know, break something in their cell, get a sharp piece of plastic and just like fillet themselves open.
Really?
And like, you'd just be like walking by a cell and think that you were in like a butcher shop and there's like blood on the like 360 and this like, and the guy's just laying there in like 2 inches of blood. And you're like, you know,
really?
So it's like, you're dealing with all of this. And this is what makes prison so hard, in my opinion. You come in, you work back then we worked 5 days a week, 8 hours, right? So you come in, you see a guy die, and then you think you kill a guy, and then you like see a staff member get assaulted, and then you're driving home to like pick your kids up from school, like, oh, you know what I mean? Like covered in like piss and shit and blood.
Yeah.
And then you throw your clothes in the wash, you shower, you eat dinner, and you're still just like in a state of shock. And then you wake up and do it all over again a few hours later. And then you do it over again. And then you do it over again. And you never turn it off. And
for $13 an hour.
For $13 an hour. And that's one of the things that was so hard for me. I used to say that I felt more comfortable in prisons than I did at home.
Why?
And that didn't make sense, right? But it was in prisons, I was in control. Like I had control over everything. And if something got out of control, like if it got outside of ordinary, I would use any amount of force it took to put it back in ordinary. And now like we've reached equilibrium, right? When you're outside of prison, you're at home, you have people honking at you, people yelling at you, giving you the finger. Like you have all these things. You have all this like real world chaos that you cannot control. And when you're in this like already hyper state of like, oh, like anyone can get it at any time. Like that's not good. Oh, yeah. Like you're like a walking time bomb, dude.
Oh, 100%.
Right? And so
that's how I feel most cops are.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But like in prisons though, I would get in, like I would walk in the first door, walk in the second door, the door would slam behind me, boom. And it was like, I could like crazy, dude. Yeah, I felt more comfortable in the chaos of prisons because I was in control. Yeah. And eventually, like over time, it got to the point where, you know, the force, the self-injury, the whatever it was so comfortable that like I don't even think my heart rate would change. Really? Like we would literally like get into a fight with somebody and go back and be doing reporting, and like new staff would be like, "Oh my gosh, like that was so crazy!" Like, and I'm just like, "Yeah, dude, can't wait for the next one to pop off in about 14 minutes." You know, like it was so crazy.
Prison,
yeah, man.
insane.
It's insane. It's insane because from my experience was just so unique.
Yeah.
Because if you could talk to 99 guys right now from the South Boise complex, and they would tell you like, it's the same thing every day. It's just like doing the same shit. Nah, it wasn't like
Groundhog's Day with just violence.
With violence, dude. I remember one time being like, I think I've seen it all. Like, I think I've seen it all. I've seen people die. I've seen staff assaults. I've seen inmate assaults. I've seen it all. I've seen drugs and seen it all. One day I'm walking through mental health, and this guy is like laying on his back, and he's got his pants off, and his nutsack is filleted open, and he's like twisting on one of his testicles. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I just don't want it anymore. And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, I just don't want it. And I'm like, you're nut? Like, you don't want it? He's like, I don't want it. And he's just like twisting it, trying to like, I guess, kill the circulation, like pop it off. And I'm like, you know, kind of like nauseous.
Well, haven't seen it all.
Bingo. I'm like, there's something new. Check that box, right? So I call an emergency. Ambulance comes, and they're like, Austin, you found it, so like you take him to the hospital. So I go to the hospital with him, me and another guy, and get to the hospital, and the doctor's like, so what'd you do to cut your nutsack open? Like, what'd you do it with? He's like, I used fingernail clippers. And I'm like, oh.
He clipped open his...
And the doctor's like, where are they now? He's like, up my butt. And I'm like, no. And the doctor's like, he like looks at me and he's like, we're going to have to get those out. And I'm like, no, you're going to, I'm not getting them. So sure enough.
Not in my job title.
Bro, he takes an x-ray. Fingernail clippers go up his butt and then turn this way. So they're now sideways. I'm looking at him just like, I'm looking at this inmate. And listen, dude, this is where it gets better.
It gets better?
He's a rapist, okay?
Oh,
and I'm like,
okay.
That's what you get.
100%.
That's what you get.
100%.
So this is where it gets better. Doctor goes, this sounds like I'm making this up. I swear, like if there was a Bible here, I'll put my hand on it and swear. I swear this is a true story. Doctor looks at me and goes, Doctor looks at me and goes, he gets this like big ass glove and goes, we're going to have to go in manually. It does like the glove snap, like the classic like glove snap. We're gonna have to go in manually. And I'm just like, yes, this is beautiful. So sure enough, dude, he's like, roll over, like digs in there, gets the fingernail clippers, pulls them out, and he's still cut open. Like the nuts are still open. They're not bleeding, but like it's open. He has a group of medical students there with him, like observing, and we're in the ER. Okay, at St. Al's. Okay. This is St. Al's downtown.
Okay.
And so I know I'm like all over the place on these stories.
No, you're good. I wasn't sure if you were still in like a hospital in the prison.
I'm in St. Al's right now.
Okay.
And he turns to his medical students and he's like, "Do any of you guys want to try this?" And this one little guy's like, he's like, "I'll stitch him up." And so I'm watching this guy do the stitches and he's shaking so bad. And I'm watching the stitches and it's like one's over here, one's like back over here, one's back over here. And I'm just like, screw it. Like,
yeah, he's
looks
a rapist.
great.
Yeah. Perfect job, buddy. Perfect job.
I used to love taking inmates to the hospital for stuff like that because it was so fun just seeing doctors, nurses, people, and how they interacted with inmates. Like, it was just so fun.
Were they timid about it? Like, what makes it?
It was like,
how were they treated different?
Oh, they're treated so different, dude. It was like,
good way or bad way?
Like, the inmates are treated bad.
Really?
Really. Like, you would think they'd kind of just be like, treat everyone the same. No.
The hospitals treat inmates way worse?
Yeah.
Really?
And I would say about half the times I took inmates to the hospital, we would have a force incident.
At the hospital?
At the hospital.
I actually just had a nurse reach out, and she's like, you need to have somebody that's been in a hospital for a career. She's like, the most violent shit happens in a hospital. And she's like, and the cops don't do anything.
Oh, maybe the cops didn't, but dude, we were slamming people in the hospital.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's why you're there.
This one time, this inmate, he was a guy who was like a known piss and shit in people's face guy. And he'd got a couple of my friends. And so I was like, I'm going to take any opportunity I can, right? But this guy had told us that he had a weapon up his butt. And so we were like, we got to take him to the hospital and find out, right? And so I'm trying to remember why. I know we did an x-ray and the x-ray didn't find anything. And if I remember right, I think he was trying to say that it wasn't metal, right?
Okay.
Like, I can't, this is a long time ago, but so the doctor's like, we're going to have to put him through like a CT machine. I think that's what it was, but it was one of the ones where he lays on his back and then he has to like slide on the machine through, and then he gets to this side and then it slides back. Okay. I don't remember what the machine is. Well, he starts being a little shit, and he like starts making fun of the nurses and starts resisting and all this stuff. So we start using force, and we're like punching the guy and doing stuff as he's on the machine. So he'll be like sliding through, and I'm like punching him, and then he'll like get a certain way, and then we'll like pass him off to the next guys. So as he's coming out the other side, they start punching him, and the nurse is back. You're like, yeah, kick his ass. So I'm like, we have like a cheer squad, right? So I'm laughing, like trying not to laugh. And it was because we had to take his belly chains off, right? Because he's going through his thing. So he's like unrestrained, but he's like super violent, looking for any chance he can. So that's why we're using force. So we're like, we get it done. And as we get done, we like pull him off thing, and we're trying to get his belly chains back on. And he's like, I ain't going back in those things, right? So now we have this force incident. So he starts resisting. We start wrestling a little bit. And I look over and I see this like big machine right here or out into the hallway. And I'm like, and so like this is all happening really fast, right? I'm like, machine, hallway, people walking by. I'm like, I don't want to go out there with him. So I just like grab him head first, boom, into this machine, and down we go. And then we get him all restrained. And the doctor's like, did you have to pick that machine? I'm like, I don't know. Like it was there. And he's like, there's like 2 of those in the state of Idaho, and it's like $100,000. I'm like, whoops.
Now this dude's face imprint.
Yeah. It was just that's why it was so crazy, man.
Speaking of,
you can't plan for that stuff.
No. Speaking of butt stuff, this was from one of our listeners. Squat and cough.
Yeah.
Making inmates squat and cough. Have you ever had anything come out? Does it even work?
I have, yes, it does.
Really?
Yeah. But like inmates know you're going to do it, right? So, the particular time that I'm thinking of, what it was, so what you're doing, right? When you squat and cough, when they cough, it like makes the sphincter kind of do this like push out.
Okay.
Right. So if something's up there a ways, you're not going to see it.
This is the stuff that's right on the edge. Like
it's right on the edge.
Okay.
But what inmates will do is they'll shove stuff way up there, but they'll put like a tampon string, right, hanging out so that they can just like grab it and pull it out. So oftentimes what you would see is like this little string just kind of like, barely just kind of like poke out the bottom. And so you'd be like, what? Also, like, I need to pull that out, And so, yeah, we would.
Is it mainly drugs?
I never found drugs in the rectum. I found like a sharpened instrument is what you'd call it, like a shank.
Yeah.
One time that was tied to a little piece of string. Did find a cell phone in someone's butt with a charger. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That was crazy, dude. Listen, this is crazy. This is in the most restrict. This is actually the same inmate that got jumped in my first story. That got the handcuff splitting his head open. That same dude was in like our most restrictive housing unit. He's in B block, and he's out on the rec yard, and one of the inmates rats him out. He's like, "Hey, just so you know, like when this guy goes out on the rec yard, he's got a cell phone and he's talking on the phone." And you can't see it from the cameras because B block is so secure. Like even the rec yard, it's concrete boxes.
Okay.
So we can't see in on the cameras. And so he'd go out and he'd talk on the phone and then shove it up his butt and come back to his cell.
Oh my.
So
what kind of phone are we talking?
We're talking like a Nokia flip phone.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Not like a big iPhone, but
Okay.
like a little flip phone.
You never know.
And so we pull him off the rec yard, and we have this chair that you could sit in, and it would tell us if there's metal in your body. Like you'd sit in the chair, and depending on where the metal was, we had this thing, and it would light up.
Oh,
and you could do it like people would hide razor blades in their cheeks, like in between their teeth.
Interesting.
And so you could like make them, basically like metal detect their faces. Yeah. We'd find stuff all the time with this machine. It worked great. So he sits on the machine. It lights up on his butt. And I'm like, you got something in there. And he's like, no, I don't. I'm like, well, you do. And I'm not going to go like, I can't like force it out of him, right? So the protocol is you'd take him to medical and you'd put him on defecation watch is the term for it.
Oh, fun. Is that a new guy job?
It should be, right? But we get him to medical and the shift commander's like, Austin, you found it. Like, this is your thing. You do the defecation watch. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to do this. He's like, no, you got it. And I'm like, so I have to like read the policy because I'm like, I've never done this.
You got time, right? You're just waiting for this dude to take a shit.
He's just sitting there and he's naked, right? And so he's naked in the cell and I'm like reading the policy and I'm like laughing as I'm reading it. I'm like, bro, oh, this sucks. It's like feed him corn. If he refuses, force feed him corn, right?
What the hell does corn do?
Because when corn passes through, you know that it's like worked its way through the system.
Okay.
So when you see corn come out in his poop, you're like, well, there's nothing in there, you know, because the corn's not. So it's like, get corn from kitchen, feed him corn, force feed him corn if he won't eat corn.
This is in the policies.
Yeah. And then it's like, when inmate poops, like have poop in bag, get these like popsicle sticks, cut up like dice poop and look for contraband, you know. I'm like, so I'm reading this and I'm like, I'm gonna tell you right now, you pull that cell phone out because I'm not force feeding you corn and digging through your shit. Like, I'm not doing it. Bottom line, like, I'm not doing it. And he's like, okay, you're right.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, you're right. He's like, I don't want you force feeding me corn, you know.
Either way, the outcome is going to be the same. You're the same punishment if you pull it out. Yeah.
And you're about to make a lifelong enemy.
Yeah.
Like, I will ruin your life if I have to dig through your shit.
Yeah.
Like, so he's like,
good way of putting it.
100%, right? So he's like, look, I'll make a deal with you. Go get me a bag, like a trash bag, and then don't watch. And I'm like, done. Like, okay. So I go get the trash bag. I hand it to him. He's like, turn around. I'm like, yeah, no, I ain't watching this. So I turn around and, 20 seconds goes by and he knocks on the window and he'd smashed the phone after he took it out, which like I didn't care. And so he hands me the phone and he's got like a plug-in wall charger, like with the thing. And I'm like, all of this was in there? Like, are you kidding? And he's like, you know, just a little shrug. I'm like, all right, well, like, that's it, you know? So, yeah, man. People shove stuff up there all the time. Yeah.
That?
Cell phone in the butt, man. Prison's crazy. He got it from a visitor. A visitor brought it in.
Okay.
And a visitor put it in so like, in Max's, the way we used to do visiting, the visitors would be on one side of the glass and the inmates would be on one side, no contact, and they'd talk through phones. So she came in, she put the phone like up under the desk where the phone was, and then the janitor, who's an inmate, because we had minimum security janitors, they did all the cleaning, the laundry, the painting, like the maintenance, kitchen, like all that's done by inmates. So the inmate janitor for the unit comes in, gets the phone, takes it out to the tier with him, and then I don't know if he left it on the rec yard but somehow he got it back to him. Yeah. So, yeah, that's how that contraband got in.
It is one of the things about prison that fascinates me is how they're able to get so much into prison.
Yeah.
And then finding out that a huge portion of contraband coming into prison is coming from the COs.
Staff. Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
It's wild, dude. And I'll tell you, there's a huge portion of like going through training that's like, do not get compromised by inmates.
Because once you do, they own you.
They own you. They'll get anything from you, right? And I remember the first time I saw a staff member get compromised, it was a female, and she was, we were doing a cell search, and I'd worked with this female so many times, and she'd been there for about a year. Okay. And we're searching this gangbanger cell. He's a Aryan Knight, like one of the big white gangs in Idaho, and we're searching the cell, and all of a sudden I like see a picture of her in like, you know, lingerie, and I'm like, wait, what?
Really?
She worked in the unit. And I like look at the picture and I'm like, wait, and I like look, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, these are like naughty pictures. And it's like not one, not two, I mean, it's like a stack. And it's like, oh shit, dude. I know. And that sucks, man, because it's like those are the people that I'm supposed to be counting on to watch my back, right?
Yeah.
I'm counting on that when something goes down that you are going to make sure I go home safe and vice versa. And when you're compromised at that level, I don't know if you're slipping the dude a knife. I don't know if you're like, I don't know what.
Because people, when they get caught up in the emotional and the feeling side of things, you make very irrational decisions. Giving an inmate nude photos of yourself is like the least thing you got to worry about. But if you're going to that extent and you're in the system, like, where does it evolve? Like,
I know.
And then it's just, then once they own you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, let's say you just give an inmate the simplest, like a cigarette, whatever. Yeah. The second you cross that line, they now have you, because then they can just rat you out and your career's done. Yeah. So then it's like, hey, I need this. Hey, I need this. And then it evolves and evolves and evolves. Yeah. So
you have to be so careful, dude, because it's the things that you think are like just minor. Like right? It always starts with something small. Okay. I remember, and then I'll tell you a really sad story about a inmate or a staff that got compromised. But I remember for me, one time I was out at one of the minimum security blocks. And so this is like where all the workers work. Okay. Those worker units are pretty laid back. Like, they usually don't get in a lot of trouble.
People are trying to get to those units.
You want to get to those units because you get paid. You get like 12 cents an hour, which isn't a lot. But when you got 40-year sentence, like, man, go make a couple bucks and buy some commissary, right? Yeah. So people want to get there. It's a reward. I was out there one day. I was working like the evening shift, and you kind of give them a little slack, right? You can't be. I was never that black and white, but even more out there. Yeah. And they're like, "Hey, man, we're gonna make some ice cream," and I'm like, "All right, I don't care, do it." And they have their whole thing where they make it. They put all the ingredients and a bunch of salt and stuff in a bag, and they put it in a bathtub, and then they basically like making with an ice cream maker, right? You know the old one.
Spins,
Do that same thing in a bathtub with these plastic bags, and you make ice cream. And I was just like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Make your ice cream. And so they make it, and then they bring me a bowl, and they're like, hey, man, we just want to say, like, thanks for letting us make it. Just want to see if you want any. And I'm like, and right away, I'm just like, hell yeah. Like, I'd love some ice cream. Like, this sounds great. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. Like, and as a matter of fact, like, remember who I am, and, like, remember what this is. Yeah. And that's all I'm going to say. Like, won't take it any further, but, like, don't even ask me next time.
So something that simple.
Yeah, because, like, he might not have meant anything by it. He might have genuinely just been being polite. Yeah. He might have also been like, step one, right? Yep. Step one was me.
Technically grooming in a way.
Step one was me looking the other way because they shouldn't be making ice cream.
Yep.
And then it's just one step after the other. So in those worker units, we used to have, and they probably still do, but it's a single man post. So one staff member would be out there at a time with, I think probably 30 or 32, 36, something like that, inmates. And there were 2 units. Okay. Single man post. And then there's 3 shifts, right? There's daytime, the evening, up until, I can't remember what time, 10 p.m. I think, and then like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Well, they had a female doing the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. single man post out there. Which already I'm like,
that's sketch.
I don't know if that's a great idea. Yeah. Right? Sure enough, man. Find out through a phone call, because all the phone calls are recorded, and there's an investigations team that listens to phone calls. They go through the mail, looking for contraband and shit like that. Over here on a phone call, this inmate bragging that he was banging a CO at night. And sure enough, man, I'm the assistant shift commander. At this point, I'd promote it. I'm probably 4 years in at this time. This kind of later in my career. And Ada County comes in because this is a felony, right? Like hooking up with it's a sex crime. Yeah. Ada County's there. She'd been referred for criminal charges for this hooking up with this inmate. And so as I'm trying to remember if it was as she was coming or as she was leaving, but it was one of the two. It was as she was coming in for work or as she was leaving work. But we grab her and pull her aside, and she goes into this room, and she's talking to the warden, Ada County, and one other person, like a deputy warden or something. And I'm like in the room next to it in the lobby, and I see him go in, and I already know what's happening, and so they tell her like, hey, you're going to be arrested. We're taking you out in handcuffs. So we're going to give you a minute to, remove your belt and all your gear and stuff, and then like you're going out in handcuffs out the front door.
Mm-hmm.
And so the warden steps out, and Ada County steps out, the sheriff steps out. And so we're waiting in the foyer, and a couple minutes goes by. And a couple minutes goes by, and then we're like, we probably need to check on her and just make sure, and go in, and she's hanging.
No.
She hung herself. She was hanging by her belt, just right there in the room. And I had known her for probably 2 years.
Really?
She didn't die, luckily. We were able to,
in the process.
yeah, but yeah, so when you talk
over an inmate.
yeah, so when you talk about like these things matter, like this is serious. She's ruined her life. She made that decision. 100%. She ruined her life.
100%.
And then she tried to kill herself. So it's like
that's insane.
That is what is so hard about that job, man. Is like, okay, well, watch her almost, try and kill herself. Watch her go away in handcuffs. Worked with her for a while. All right, now I'm gonna go coach my kids' football team. Like nothing happened.
Dude, the correctional facility world is
so crazy,
wild. This is why I love having these conversations, because without this, like people just don't know.
No idea, man. Yeah, and it happened all the time, man. It happened to women, happened to men, men with men, men with women, like all of it, the whole gambit. It happened.
Because there's big money.
Yeah.
I talked to a buddy a while ago, and he was talking about how much money outside gang members would pay these correctional officers to bring stuff in.
Yeah.
And he's talking like to bring in a cell phone, you're getting paid like $1,500, $2,500.
So funny you say that number, because I was like, as you were saying, I was like, that's $1,500 back when I was there for a cell phone. Yeah. And Max we were really fortunate because we had a pretty tight lockdown on things. But when you get into those medium security facilities where guys are out, roaming around, they're out on the ball field, they're moving free about their units and stuff, there's a lot of contraband flowing through those facilities that staff bring in.
Having other guys on the podcast and people that I've known that have done some time, they say there's more drugs on the inside of prison than there is on the outside.
Yeah, I'd believe that.
It's easier to get because of how much COs are bringing it in. Because it takes one time, like we said, and as soon as you're compromised, because these inmates have nothing but time to groom you, to become friends with you, and then it just takes that one question. As soon as they own you, hey, by the way, I'm going to need you to, here's a point of contact you need to get a hold of. They'll be waiting for your phone call, that type of shit. Which I'm all about making a buck, but
capitalism, right?
I'm about capitalism, but you got to understand risk versus reward for throwing away your life, because it's not just you're losing your job, you're going to jail.
Yeah, man. And gosh, there's so much we could talk about. The South Boise complex, it's called a complex because there's a group of prisons out there, right? There's minimum, medium, maximum. There's a women's facility. And have you ever been out to Pleasant Valley?
Yeah.
Right? So that's everything on the left side of the road.
Okay.
Women's, max, medium, minimum, those four. And then as you keep going, there's a huge facility off on the right.
Yeah.
So back in the day, that was a private prison.
Okay.
Private meaning it was Idaho's inmates, but it was ran by a private corporation.
Okay.
The reason states will do that is because it's more cost effective, right? It's cheaper for them to contract it out to the lowest bidder, who then hires its own people and runs the prison and stuff, than it is for the state to manage it.
Okay.
So they do that for budget. Man, Idaho, we had such a problem with overpopulation that we were shipping guys out of state. Like multiple times I would ship guys out of state. I remember one time, like going down, we locked down the Boise airport, loaded up an airplane, and flew guys to Texas. We flew guys to Colorado. I think we flew guys to Kansas. I mean, multiple
moving people around
states just because we didn't have the beds.
Yeah.
And so as part of those like cost saving measures, this private prison existed. That private prison was, I talk about Max being crazy. No, that private prison was crazy.
Why?
It had the nickname of Gladiator School. And that wasn't our nickname for it. That was the FBI's nickname for it. Gladiator School was like lawless. They got caught. Dude, they got caught doing some crazy
the COs?
things. The COs and like the organization.
Okay.
The organization was falsifying like employment records. So they would say, hey, we have 45 bodies on staff today.
Yeah.
A full staff facility.
They're getting paid by
the body. And like 30 people were actually there. So all these posts were just going unmanned, and like things were just not, places that should have had bodies didn't have bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some crazy things, bro. If you Google Gladiator School, there's a video that comes out or on YouTube of a fight that's like 20 minutes.
What?
Where a guy gets jumped, gets beat up. The inmate just like smashes this dude, smashes him, goes, sits down, like gets a drink, has something to eat, gets back up and just starts like stomping the guy's head again. It goes for like 20 minutes. The whole time in the background, you can see the staff in the window just like watching, not doing anything. Inmate gets permanent brain damage, gets a huge settlement from the state of Idaho. And so that was one of the first things that kind of like opened the door to like, what the hell is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out they were doing things like pitting inmates against each other at night, where they would be like, open this door,
rival gangs and stuff.
let the guys fight, and like live, like videoing it and like putting the videos out for people to watch. They were doing things. I don't know how much these guys got paid for this. I heard from some folks that worked there, they got paid a lot of money. But there was this sex offender gang, right? As stupid as that sounds, a bunch of sex offenders got together and created this gang called YFS. And I don't know what it stands for, but we always joked that it was the Youth Fondling Society.
Oh, I mean, that's
all
suitable.
sex offenders.
Yeah, I mean.
And so the YFS was like, they put them all together, because they're sex offenders and they're going to get stabbed if they're in population. And so they put them together in this unit. YFS guys are like out in the day room one day, just like milling around, doing their day room time in this unit. And the staff, these private prison staff, rolled open all the doors for the white gang, the Aryan Knights on the tier. And it's like 32 white dudes. And this was all pre-planned, right? So these guys come out with shanks and just start stabbing the YFS guys. All of them got stabbed.
I support this.
I mean, I'm not going to say much about this, but it was nasty. A huge class action lawsuit alleging the attempted mass murder orchestrated by this private prison company, like a legitimate, like attempted mass murder.
Oh my! How many dudes got stabbed?
17. I think it was 17.
17 stabbings.
And I had one of the YFS guys later, and he was like, it was unlike anything they'd ever seen. Like from his point of view, right? This inmate just being like, yeah, dude, we're just like out milling around, and all of a sudden you hear boom, 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 boom of the doors clicking open, and all these white dudes running out with like, rage in their eyes, ready to go stab these guys. And
damn.
Yeah.
See, I could get behind that type of shit.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain stuff where you're just kind of like, oh, too bad.
So one of the questions that somebody sent in, I don't need to go through. One of the questions was, do sex offenders get special treatment in prison?
No, not at all. I mean, the stereotype that they're on the bottom of the totem pole is real.
But they're segregated, correct?
In most cases, they are segregated, unless they choose not to be.
But why would they not? You're done.
Yeah, generally.
I feel that if we didn't segregate sex offenders in prison,
it wouldn't be legal.
But that's my point of this, is because if I'm into doing some shit with kids and I'm like, oh, I don't get spread, I'm not going to get my own block. I'm not getting segregated when I go to prison over this. 100% if you're going to prison, you are going to face your demons inside of there by running into somebody. Like, I feel that would deter a lot of people. It's like, think about if we had public executions like back in the day, and you knew you got caught stealing, you're going to lose a hand, you're going to think twice, but you get caught because you want to meet up with some little kid.
Yep.
The chances you going to prison are pretty high, and you're going to get absolutely destroyed in there, rightfully so. I feel like that would change a lot. Like that to me, not out of all things in the correctional facility I find fucked up, there's a lot, but that's one of them where you ruined a child's life. Yeah. Now you get to like, oh, hey, I don't want to be with the rest. That to me is completely wrong.
Yeah, it's so tough, man. Like we would run into stuff like that all the time where you have to fall back on like my responsibility is to ensure the safety and orderly operations of the entire facility and the people here.
Yes.
Regardless if you're here for a DUI or you're here for raping kids. And that is so hard to stomach. And I remember people telling me when I got there, like, under no circumstance, find out what someone did to get here. Don't read about their file. Don't read about their case. Don't ask them. Like, don't find out. Because when you do, you're going to want to start hurting people. And, like, when you see the opportunity, you're going to take it.
I would be one of those correctional officers.
Bro, I was every chance I got. I'd be like, what's this chump in here for? Oh, I remember one time, there was this guy that I was kind of like, he seems pretty normal. Like he'd always talk to me about football. He'd like, we would chat it up just whenever. And he was fairly normal. And I would do these things when I became a sergeant. I was helping out with these things called like segregation reviews, finding out like, why are you in lockdown? Why are you in max? And like, what are you doing to get out? Like, when's a good time for you to be released back into the population? And so I was doing this one review and I'm sitting there and I'm like, what's up, man? And I'm just talking. I just talk to people like this, right? It's very normal. I'm like, what's up, man? Hey, how's it going? Like, when are we going to get you out of here? I don't know. Like, what's it? And I'm like, what got you in here in the first place? Oh, I got jumped and blah. And I'm like, you got jumped? Like, what? It's crazy. What happened? Oh, they didn't like my crimes. And I'm like, instantly I'm like, shit, like, you're a sex offender? Really? And I'm like, what'd you do to get here? Oh, I should have left that one alone, man. I'm like, what'd you do to get here? He's like, man. He's like, it just sucks, man. He's like, I ruined it all for this girl. And I'm like, so I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, maybe it's like a statutory thing. Maybe it's like, and I'm like, okay, tell me about it. Like, let's, and I'm not doing it to pry. Like my desire in this role when I'm doing these is like, do you need to be here or do you need to be in a different place?
Yeah.
Because I need to have the people in here who are dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need someone in here just filling a bed.
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't need to be here, get out. So I'm like, I'm trying to like figure this out. Right. So I'm not doing this to pry. And I'm like, tell me about it. Like, what got you here? And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, it's kind of unfortunate. Like I'm hanging out and there's this girl and, she keeps walking by and I just like tempting me. And it was just, man, he's like, I just wanted her from like the first time I saw her. I just wanted her. And I'm like, I mean, so far, like I get that. I'm like, were you like at Lucky Peak? Were you like at the, but I know this dude's a sex offender. So I'm like, did he rape her? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, something must have happened because like you don't just pick up charges for looking at pretty girls, And he's like, yeah. He's like, so she's teasing me and she's walking by and he's like, she had her shirt off and I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh man, and she's walking around in her diaper like that. And finally, I'm just like, ugh. And I'm like, dude, like, get the fuck out.
See?
And shit like that,
motherfucker needs to go to Gen Pop.
Bro, it's shit like that I'm like, the number of times that, like, as much as, like, the violence of prison didn't affect me, the number of times I had to listen to people talk about doing shit to kids and babies and, like, hearing about people torture and murder babies, like that's the shit that you can't get rid of.
For sure.
Bro, I could care less. About making, like, hurting people. Like, that shit does not bother me. I live with all that and I'll stand behind every single one. Even the ones where I wasn't like 100% justified, I'll still stand on those. But like, you can't move past that stuff.
No.
I've heard it all. Like, I'm like hearing people describe like torturing and killing kids, man. That shit doesn't go away.
I'm sure it affects you even more now having kids.
Yeah, dude. That
changes
shit's
everything.
hard, man. That shit's hard. It's hard to then have to treat somebody like a human. Well, Mike,
100%.
like you're not, like you are subhuman. Like you don't deserve to breathe.
100%.
And yeah, man. So like I get what you're saying about sex offenders. Like they are the bottom of the barrel. They really are. They're the worst. Like it's rats and sex offenders tied at the bottom of the totem pole, man. And I wish there was something we could do about it, but
yeah, I think that's where a huge problem with our correctional facilities. That's one of the major issues. Like I don't know where it came into. Like it makes sense to me now that we protect them because obviously our whole government is completely orchestrated by children and all of this. So it makes sense that they would want to protect them because anybody in their right mind, I'd be like, why? I could see if there was a segregation where it's, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, so I'm not a CO, but there's a lot of people in prison that it was their first time ever making a mistake, and now they're put away, and then they're in a maximum facility. They heat of the moment, whatever it may be, right?
100%.
Doesn't mean that person is a murderer.
Could not agree more.
And he's just out here murdering people.
Yeah.
There's shit DUI.
Victim of your circumstance, right?
One and done, right? Yeah. But then that person's now living in Gen Pop, dealing with killers that are walking those floors every day. But then you have some dude that's getting off for kids and has ruined how many children's lives, like destroyed an innocent person's life, and now he gets segregated because of that. That to me makes zero sense. Like make that make sense. It should, you go to prison, it should just be prison. Unless you have to go to solitary confinement because you're a horrible person in prison and you have to separate those people because they're problems. Other than that, there should be no segregation. And I've never understood that. Like, that to me, because guess what? When that baby's walking around in a diaper and that dude's got the urge, you're going to be like, I'm going to get shanked the first fucking 10 minutes I walk in that prison. Think about how many dudes how many people would think twice, knowing you're seeing it on the news, you get to hear about it constantly. Because good luck in prison. There's no good luck in prison for pedophiles because they're protected. And it just
and they're
don't
safe,
understand.
Right? They're safe. It does take. It's interesting because if the staff slip up one time, it takes this big of a slip up, and they will get what's coming to them. Right? It does happen. Right? It takes one movement where a sex offender crosses paths with someone in GP, and it's on.
How often does that get set up?
I need to figure out what the statute of limitations is before I say some things.
Has it been past 10 years? In your opinion,
it happens.
Yeah. I if I was a CO, I would This is why I can't be a cop. I can't be border patrol or a CO because I would be the statistic numbers of being corrupted, right? I know who I am.
Yeah.
People are like, what the fuck? But I would 100%. I would be befriending some killing motherfuckers in there and be like, hey, tomorrow dude's gonna walk by.
It would be.
That's how I would operate.
Crazy if like your door got popped open while this guy was like on the phone in the day room. Like it would just be crazy if that happened, right? Like.
So it does. Okay, that makes me feel a little better, but it's not enough.
That's why I told people like Brian Kohlberger will get his at some point. He'll get his.
The Idaho killer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear how he's complaining now?
Yeah, he'll get it.
He's being harassed in prison. Bro, you murdered a bunch of college children.
Yeah.
Like,
I was someone I get asked about that all the time. There's a hierarchy, right? It's like when you butcher innocent borderline children.
Butcher is the correct word.
Like, there's a hierarchy, and you're not at the top. Like and it's I think it's a couple things, right? I'm not there anymore, so I don't know for sure. But like, these inmates are from Idaho. Some of them probably have siblings that go to University of Idaho. Some of them probably grew up in Moscow. Some of them, their parents live in Moscow. Right. Like, this is something that we all felt in Idaho. And like, you think those inmates are just going to be like, like it's fine. Like, no. Like that guy, man, what's happening is called a bang out. That's like the term for it, right? A bang out. And those guys are making a statement that we do not want you here. You are not welcome here. Yes, you're an inmate, but you're not one of us. And they're going to make that guy's life hell, and they're not going to stop. And when he gets moved and goes somewhere else, they're going to bang him out too. Nobody wants that guy living with them. He's going to have one of two things are going to happen. He's going to become protective custody and go live with sex offenders, right? Because the sex offenders are going to be like, like you're one of us, right? He's going to go live with them, which, whatever. Or two, he's going to commit suicide.
Or he gets caught.
I mean, he will get caught at some point. He 100% will. But for now, I guarantee you the security around him is so tight.
Although, I mean, national news, there's no way he can be touched right now.
He is.
I'm sure it'll happen in a few years.
I think he kills himself. I genuinely do.
Should. That's the only way out for him. I hate to say that, but when it comes to the way he butchered murder in general, like that wasn't out of like, I walked in, caught my wife, all fucking hell broke loose. That was premeditated. Yeah. That and sex offenders, like there's done. Like,
bro, and these like what we're describing, like what they're doing is, those doors weigh 250 pounds and they're steel, like big, thick, heavy doors. When you have 31 inmates on the tier, mule kicking those doors, it is deafening. Like you and me couldn't even have a conversation. It's so loud and it just is bang, bang, bang. And it doesn't stop. All 31 of them, they'll kick their doors till their feet break. Like they will bang that dude out forever. And while that's like when they stop for staff coming on the tier or for chow or whatever, people will be in the vent just like,
that's what I saw.
Kill yourself. Like people, because the vents are all connected, right? To these pipe chases. People will be in his vent telling him like, kill yourself. If you don't do it, we will do it. Like, and they will not stop. It'll be 24 hours a day. He'll be trying to sleep. People will be telling him to kill himself. People will start slipping him razor blades, like trying to fish razor blades under his door to do it. Like they will make that guy's life hell. Rightfully so.
You have to be the bottom of the barrel scum to be hated in prison.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Truly think about it.
It's insane. Yeah. You're amongst the worst. And everyone hates you.
So in prison, all the scum pedos to the kingpin running it, whatever.
Yeah.
How many of those dudes are legitimately just good people?
Man, I struggle with this question because all of my prison time was with the shitheads.
Okay.
Right? So I have a very skewed view on prison.
Completely understand.
If you were to ask the average guy, he would probably tell you 80 to 90% is like just normal guys. Guys that victim of circumstance.
DUI, whatever.
Yeah. My opinion, I spent all my time in the shit.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm like, if you were to say like, oh, can people change in prison? I'd probably tell you no. I'd probably tell you like, no. Like those guys that I interacted with, you got to think, man, there's about 450 people at IMSI. About 50 of those, 50 to 60 are workers. I had the 390 worst people in the state of Idaho going back 35 years that you can think of. The worst.
Yeah.
All concentrated into one building. And that's all I dealt with.
That makes sense.
So no, like I have a very jaded view.
For sure. I could understand that.
Yeah.
So as a CO, and you did max, right, most of your time, do correctional officers actually run the prison or do the inmates run the prison?
In max, the staff run that prison.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that baby is locked down.
You hear it. You hear some of these prisons, and I hear stories about how inmates are calling shots.
Yeah.
They'll go to the COs, hey, this is the shit that's going down. I mean, do you hear about, I mean, you obviously have known that stuff, right?
Yeah, of course. And as I got to the point where there was mutual respect with me and the inmate population.
Yeah.
Those conversations can happen, and they did happen, right? So, like I remember one time being in B block, like that heavy secure unit, and one of the big shot collar dudes from the Aryan Knights was like, hey man, come here. And I walk over to his cell and he's like, can you and me have a chat off the tier? And I'm like, sure. Would I do that for like a normal dude? No, I'd be like, screw you, dude. You can talk to me through the door like everybody else. Like, I don't care. But this guy, I was like, you know what? Sure. Because I know that if I tell you to go pound sand at a single request from you, I'm going to have 16 dudes in this unit cover up their windows. And all of a sudden now we're doing like 16 cell extractions. And
so there's a give take.
Yeah, there's a give take,
Okay.
right? So, because I know, like, if I ruin this, if I tell this guy, no, you're a pussy, like, I'm not doing it, all of a sudden now my day's ruined because for the next 8 hours, we're going to be dealing with nothing but shit sticks, right? So I'm like, yeah, dude, I lock him up, I pull him off the tier, put him out in the rec yard. I'm like, what's up? He's like, you got to rein in your boy. I'm like, who is it? This dude. I'm like, what's he doing? Man, at night he's coming through and he takes his flashlight and he bangs on our window, like on the actual glass. He bangs on it and then he shines his light right in our eyes. He's like, he wakes us up and then he freaking hits us with the high beams. He's like, he's got to knock that shit off or we're going to get him. And I'm like, all right, that's it. All right, I'll talk to him. Okay.
So you just earn respect from that dude right there.
Yeah.
So then all the guys that he's technically controlling, I'm not saying you're protected, but they're not going to fuck with you if you're helping them in a way.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. That was one of those things. I had to earn that, right?
100%.
That doesn't happen with a new
100%.
staff member. That doesn't happen when you've been there a year, 2 years. At this point, like, I was a sergeant. I'd been there for, 3-4 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And so dude comes in on the swing shift and I'm like, hey man, like, let me just throw something at you. Right. I know you're new, but I was like, listen, when you go by a cell at night, be careful about what you're doing with your flashlight. Shine it up at the ceiling. If you shine it at the ceiling, you'll be able to illuminate the cell and you'll be able to see if a guy's, whatever. I was like, and just take that as like a word of advice, right? He's like, all right, cool. Yeah, thanks, man. I didn't have to tell him like, hey, you're about to get stomped out if you keep doing that. You know what I mean? Like,
caught.
Yeah, but I'm like, I give him a little advice and like stuff like that goes a long ways, right? So yes,
Sure.
Do inmates run the prison? Not in the state of Idaho, but there is a give take for sure.
What's something as a correctional officer that you would turn the blind eye to? Like inmates, I'm not saying anything major, right? Because obviously I feel who you are, you're going to correct it. But as a CO, letting dudes cook, I mean, what are things that you turn a blind eye to that guys are just...
I turned a blind eye to gambling.
Okay.
Gambling is one thing that will get you messed up if you get into a debt that you can't repay. Which is why there's a no gambling policy.
Okay.
Gambling's, you can't do it in prison.
Makes sense.
You get into a big debt, you're going to get smashed. But guys would do it like over fantasy football. And, I love fantasy football. Like, I get it. I want to come in and like talk about the Cowboys and talk about football. And so I'd let people do fantasy. I would let people, I'd let people get away with silly stuff like that, man. Like silly contraband in their cells. I wouldn't let people make alcohol. I'd find alcohol all the time. I'd confiscate that. But like minor contraband, dude, as long as you're not like trying to escape or like stab me and my friends, like I don't really care.
Yeah,
I'd turn a blind eye to some of that.
I feel like you have to though, because if you're that dude, that's just...
Those dudes get eat up. They don't last. They do not last.
Really?
They suck, dude. They suck for us, too, because they make my life miserable.
Then they're making all the inmates' life miserable, so then they're taking it out on you.
Yes, dude. Exactly. And I tell people, I'm like, hey, I know the policy says this, but, like, knock it off. Just, like,
the people that are writing the policy are also sitting in their golden throne.
They're down at headquarters. They don't know anything about us.
They're downtown Boise, and here you guys are in the trenches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, when I would see people break people down to policy, I'd just have it in my head, like, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it.
I feel like that's anything. Mm-hmm. Because then you got a mark on your back. And if you're that dude that's ripping out, you can't. Because I was talking to a buddy, and he was talking about how they take apart the wall plugs and they would hook it to their metal table to like make like a
hot plate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, I'd be like,
I love shit like that, dude. I would compliment people when I would see certain things. Like people would make the most creative things, and I'd just be like, "This is awesome," Like there was a dude. I want to tell you his name. He was a leader. We call him a heavy, right? There was a heavy in a gang.
Okay.
And he was, probably one of the most violent dudes. Like he'd slit your throat if you looked at him sideways. That was actually why he was in prison. He slit a guy's throat at a party.
Oh my God.
Just so violent. And he would, to intimidate people, he would roll up his mattress, put it in his laundry bag, and then hang it in front of the door, and then box and kickbox and do all this stuff. And he would do burpees for 2 hours straight, right? And he'd do all these things to intimidate people. And I remember one time the staff being like, "Hey, he's trying to intimidate us. Like, we got to go and like bust this dude down. No more punching bags. No more this. No more that. And I remember just being like, when's the last time he assaulted a staff member? Well, he hasn't. I'm like, okay, so what do we care?
Yeah.
He's in a cell punching a punching bag. Would you rather him be punching you? I would. Like, I don't want to get in a fight with this guy.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's one of those things where it's like, no, just like use your head, dude. Be smart.
When it comes to weapons,
Yeah.
what are these dudes making them out of?
Oh, man, anything. Razor blades are super common. So, like, they get razors to shave.
Okay.
And they would go in the shower and they'd pop the heads off the razor and, like, pluck the blades out. And so anytime you'd get a razor back, you would have to inspect it to make sure the blades are there. But every once in a while, one would slip through. And then you could take your toothbrush and heat it up to make the plastic, like, malleable, you know? Mm-hmm. And then you'd stick the blade into it and then dip it in cold water to harden it. So then you had this, like, handled straight edge, you know, slicing weapon. Right, so there's really two types of shanks. There's a slicing shank and a stabbing shank.
Okay.
And, you know, and that makes sense when you start thinking about like, oh yeah, okay, you have razor blades and those type of edge weapons, or you have like a rod style shank that you can poke holes with inside with. And so, really common were the razor blade slashing style things, and those are just nasty, right? They make messes, they bleed, they dice people.
Yeah.
But you're not going to kill somebody with one of those. Okay. You kill people when you stick them with a rod shank and you start poking organs and stuff. And for those, people would break steel bars off of like the wreck enclosures. That was a place they'd get them a lot.
How are you breaking steel bars?
Dude, you put toothpaste on the... So toothpaste has like a little bit of a grit to it, right? You put toothpaste on the steel bar, and then you sit out there with dental floss day after day and just rub that dental floss back and forth on that toothpaste and just let it grind down and grind down. And we'd go out and we'd inspect the wreck enclosures, you know, but man, it doesn't take long, and people would pop one off and then file it down on the concrete, and now you've got this like 6-inch freaking Widowmaker. I had one of my good friends, a staff member, where an inmate popped the lock off of his rec enclosure and put it in a sock. And so when they came out to get him, he jumped the staff member and almost killed him and put him in the hospital for a very long time with a heavy duty padlock in his sock. You know,
I just watched a video of two dudes beating a dude in prison with locks and socks.
Nasty.
Like, yeah.
It's nasty, dude. Because those are heavy.
And the sounds.
Yeah. Oh. And then, yeah.
The sounds of dudes getting locked, like,
yeah,
something else.
Honestly, there's a lot of sounds. There's sounds and smells that I can still, like, every once in a while I'll smell something that I'm like not all blood, but like there's certain times where I will smell blood and just be like back in a cell where it's like someone looks like they've been butchered, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, you know. And same thing with like feces. There's certain times where I like smell feces, and you know, I remember guys would like cover themselves in their feet, be like completely naked, and would go cell extract a guy that was covered in his own shit, and so you're wrestling around and fighting him and covered in his poop, you know, like those smells, like it's weird the things that like trigger you back in that. Yeah,
oh, for sure.
There's so much feces in prison. Dude, I remember one time we had this crazy guy. He came in and we put him into a holding cell, and he was just like bananas, right? And he was completely naked, and we left him for a little bit, and there was a camera in his cell, and I came back to check on him like an hour later, and he had got a turd, and he wrote out the entire Declaration of Independence on the wall, and it was like all the way around the cell. But what was so amazing about it is he had it memorized perfectly.
Yeah, that's why
word for word.
I'm like,
but he didn't know how to spell. And so declaration, like the T-I-O-N in declaration, he spelled like S-H-U-N. It's like declaration.
Shun.
And he just said it, the whole thing was in shit. I remember saying, like, this is so impressive.
Who has to clean that?
The inmate janitor. So he comes in with a pressure washer and he's spraying it down, you know.
That poor
like,
guy.
It smelled so
poor
bad.
guy.
But that is like that. The feces things. That is so common, dude. I've seen people eat them. I've seen people.
What?
Yeah, dude. Like, there was a guy. We had a guy who just like
For $13 an
Bro.
hour?
I'm telling you, it was the best job in the world and the worst job in the world. Like, there was a guy who refused to poop in the toilet. Just refused. He would just poop in his cell. And I remember, Dude,
I just did.
I remember one time, dude, he would just poop in his cell. And so one time we're going around collecting food trays. They'd just eaten dinner. And so we're collecting his tray. And as I go to collect it, he's sitting there with a turd in his hand. And he's got his spork from dinner. And he's eating it like ice cream. And so we joked that like it was a poopsicle, you know? And so... And so that was like the ongoing joke with him about just like,
What the hell?
You can't make that shit up, dude. It's
God.
just crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean,
Crazy. That's the only way to describe it. It's like, and this is what's so crazy. This is,
don't
I'm
even
using
know
the
what
word
to
crazy
say.
too much. This is what's so wild.
that's wild chaos.
It's wild chaos, man. Is people don't even know this stuff is going on, right? Because it's like when it's out of the news cycle, it's out of their heads and they're on to the next thing. The people that were out in the streets causing crime, causing mayhem, drive-bys, drugs, all this stuff, they're the same dudes. You just put them all in the same building, right? So it's like, it's just a festering ground for chaos and violence and all those things. And it's funny because like I usually back in the day I wouldn't talk about these things, right? Like people didn't care. They don't want to know. They don't want to hear about stuff like this.
I do.
Well, I know, and I appreciate that.
So
but like
does our audience.
back in the day, dude, I never talked about this ever. My wife didn't want to hear it. Like nobody wanted to hear it. And I'd be like, "Hey, do you remember so and so from like this, news cycle?" And they'd be like, "Oh, that guy that did this and this." I'm like, "Yeah." And they'd be like, "Why?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm just having problems with him or whatever." And they're like, "I forgot about that guy." And I'm like, that's it. That's the thing. The public forgets about these people because we lock them up, throw away the key, and we move on. But they're all still out there.
For sure. Who are the hardest people to control in prison?
Mental health, for sure.
Really?
Not even close. Yeah.
Really?
Dude, gang members are like, whatever. Like, they're just dudes. Mental health people have this ability to tap into something that you and I don't have. It's like the inability to feel pain. I'm talking like breaking bones and dislocating limbs and then like using this arm to like beat people with after. Like, I'm not joking. Like they have this ability to like detach from reality that you and I don't have.
I don't even laugh, but how you just described that was so perfect.
It's just great because like you get your shoulder dislocated, you and I are gonna be on the ground like, oh my gosh, like I'm out. I'm tapping out. That shoulder gets dislocated and he's now like, sweet, I got a baseball bat, I can whip it at you. Like severe mental health is scary. It's scary, dude. I remember.
Are they the ones eating the poopsicles and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the worst times I got assaulted a lot. Not a lot, maybe like 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
Like the good ones, not just like
You're fighting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I got like going to the hospital assaulted.
Did you ever fear for your life?
I would say probably twice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But let me tell you the story.
Yeah.
So I'm working mental health. I'm still fairly new at this point. And this guy is like spinning himself up. And he's out in the day room and he's talking to me and I can tell he's spinning himself up and I'm like, I need you to go back to your cell, dude. Like you're getting angry. I don't want to be out here with you. Go.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he stomps back to his cell and he slams the door and he's like, gets in his cell and he's just like, Legg, I'm going to get you, blah, blah, blah. He's like screaming and I'm just like, whatever, dude. And now he's back in the cell. I'm like, we're good. I could care less what you do in there. Well, he just starts breaking everything in his cell. And I'm like, well, now this is starting to escalate because if he breaks something that he could turn into a weapon, he can use it on himself, he can use it on staff, whatever. So I'm like, oh, this is starting to get awkward. And I'm still in the day room and I look over to his cell and all of a sudden I see this red just go like splatter across the window. And I'm like, oh shit. Like he just like diced his, something to hit that. And I'm like, oh no. And I run over to the cell. And as I get to the cell, I can't see in. Like, that's the amount of, so I'm kind of like, I get to the cell and I kind of am like trying to see my way into it. And right as I do, the window just explodes in my face. Just poof, and glass goes into my eyes. I get hit by something and I can't see. I can't open my eyes. And so I'm like trying to do this, like force my eyes open to see what's going on. And as I do this, I see more shit like flying out the cell window. And I'm like, he broke the damn window. Bro, these are air quotes, unbreakable glass.
Yeah.
He smashed his fan apart, took the motor out of it, and threw it like a baseball.
And went through the glass into your face?
Through the glass into my eye. So I get glass blown into my eyes, dude. Eyeballs are bleeding. I'm doing this. I'm like spraying the dude with pepper spray, like trying to get him to stop throwing shit at me. And this is on Christmas Eve. So I get off the tier. I can't open my eyes because there's so much glass in them. I have glass in my eyes, my neck, like all in my face, my lips and everything. And they're like, you need to go to the hospital. I'm like, well, yeah, it's a good idea, And so I'm on the way to the hospital. I call my wife and she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm going to be a little late for Christmas dinner. This is bad. And she's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be fine. Bro, guy gets hit with charges, battery on staff. He's looking at like 3 to 5. And so we go to court and the prosecutor for Ada County is like, he's going to be in here for another like 6 to 8 years or whatever already. We don't want him staying in Idaho. He's got pending charges out of state. We want him to finish his time and get rid of him. So we're not going to.
So this dude got to assault you and never got a charge?
They did what's called concurrent time, I think is what the verbiage was. So he got the charge. So it's on his record. Battery on personnel. No time. I think he got 3 years for it, and it ran concurrent to his existing sentence. So when I'd see him out in prison, he'd just be like, I got away with one. And I'm like, you
yeah,
dude, and that actually kind of screwed me up a little bit too, because from then on, when I would walk by windows and look in, if something came at the window really fast, I would jump.
100%. It would give you some PTSD over that shit.
Couldn't help it too. And like it would drive me crazy, dude, because I would know like there's a window, like that window's not going to break. That was 1 in a million, right? It's not going to break. And inmates would like kind of jump and when inmates found out that I was jumpy after that, then they started doing it to fuck with me. And so then it was like, then I got made fun of for quite a while. And then, yeah, but that was one of my worst, yeah.
What's the worst fight you've ever been in prison?
I remember getting in one where I knew that if I would say in the time I was there, I probably had 150 to 200 like force incidents. There were a handful of them. You have to realize in these incidents, like losing's not an option, right?
Sure.
Out in society, if you get like slam a guy down on the ground and he like gives up, you give up, and it's like, okay, like we're done.
No stopping.
Right? Yeah, we're done. In prison, it's like if that happens and you give up, you're probably getting killed, you're getting raped, you're getting like all the things that happen are not good, but they're not going to give up. And so you go into every single one of these like, if I don't win in the fastest way possible, something really bad's going to happen. I remember one time, I got to a point at the latter part of my career, and we can get this later, but the department started kind of using me as a hammer at other facilities. And so I started going to other facilities and like solving problems. And so there was this one prison, the private prison, where Gladiator school.
Yep. The
state ended up taking control of Gladiator school. It got so bad that the FBI was like, you guys are out, state of Idaho, you are taking this prison back.
Mm-hmm.
We had so many problems taking that prison back. and drugs, weapons, disobedience to orders, like all those things. And so one of the worst fights I ever got in was we got a phone call that staff on this one unit were being bullied like relentlessly. But it was a medium security unit. And so like these inmates are out in the day room. And I don't remember the number because I never worked this facility, but I think it was like either 64 or 80 or something. Like it was a lot. Okay. And these are gang members, like active gang members. This is a medium security facility, but it's like a dangerous unit. And so staff would go out and inmates would like follow them around and like taunt them and then tell them like, hey, quit walking behind me. Like get out. And then be like, nah. And then walk behind them and be like taunt them and talk shit and tell them to get off the tier. And they'd try and run them off the tier. And so they started with like one staff member would go out and then they're like, no, it's not safe. We need 2 staff members. So now 2 staff members would go on the tier at all times. And the inmates, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And finally this, they were like, we got to do something about this. Like someone's really going to get hurt. And these guys, like their behavior is escalating. So we get this phone call, find out what's going on. And so me and 2 other guys go over there. And my friend was, this story is so crazy. My friend was the sergeant of the unit. And he's like, bro, I'm telling you, he'd been in corrections for probably 10 years. And he's like, this is the worst I've ever seen. He's like, these guys do not give a shit about us. They don't listen to anything. Like, they think they run this unit. We need to send them a message. And I'm like, done. Say less. Like, let's send them a message.
God, that'd be a great job.
Me, these 2 dudes I came over with, him and his corporal, 5 of us, go out on the tier. There's like all these dudes out in the day room. And before I even tell the story, I don't think I'm like some big bad. I'm not, right? So I don't want to give people that impression about me. I don't think that. But I had just been in this like warrior mentality of prisons for so long that I thought I was untouchable. Like you pick a guy, right? So I go out on this tier and all these inmates are just like squaring up with us, just like, what's up? Like, what are you doing on our tier, you know? And out loud, I'm like, to my buddy, I'm like, hey, which one, like, who are you having the most problems with? And he's like, that dude. And he points him out and he's up on the upper deck. And I'm like, all right. I walk over to him and everyone in the day room's just like, who's this guy? Like, what is going on? I don't even work at this prison, right? I'm like, I'm a guest here. And so I walk up and I'm like, hey, why don't you turn around and put your hands on the wall? And he's like, I can tell he's thinking about it. I'm like, I'm counting down in my head. I'm like, you have a half a heartbeat to do this or like it's on, right? And he like looks at me, slowly turns around, puts his hands up on the wall. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to place you in restraints. And as soon as I put my hand onto his hand to like, because you'd have their hands on the wall and you'd grab on a hand and you'd move it behind his back. As soon as I placed my hand on it, I felt him like do this tense. And I was like, that's all I needed, dude. It's on. So we start getting after it. So I take him down and we start wrestling around. You know, we're throwing punches and stuff. And I have in my head, like, there are 80 dudes watching what's happening right now to this guy. If I screw this up in any way, they know that
they own you guys.
You are our bitches from here on out. Yeah. Right. This is the message. This is the time. And so we start getting into it, you know, doing our thing. And I'm not owning this thing like I think I should. Like I'm like
instantly regret.
I'm like 6 or 7 seconds in, like, oh, I might need help. Like this is not good.
This dude can fight.
This guy can fight. Like he's been here before. I'm like, I might have been a little too overconfident. But I'm like, I'm also like resourceful, right? And he's not quite as resourceful as me. So I look over and I see there's like a railing on the upper deck, and there's like a bar, and then this like sharp edge. And so like we're doing our scuffle. I'm like realizing this isn't going well. I see the edge. I'm like, you're dead. Pick him up, face first, into the edge. Boom. Wrap him up. Do the whole thing. And all the inmates are just kind of like, oh, okay. You know, like message received. Like, got it. Like, we keep fucking around. Like, we're going to get it, you know? And so we take him off. And I remember one of the admin comes over later and was just kind of like, so was that totally necessary? And I was like, yeah,
100%.
it was.
100%.
And he's like, all right, I got your back. And I'm like, okay. And I talked to my friend after, and he was like, dude, message received. He's like, they were lockstep from then on. They didn't have problems in that unit for months.
Really?
Because they knew that, like,
Fuck around, find
that's
out.
just what it was. Now, at any point, was I like, I'm about to die? Nah, man.
Okay.
But at any point, was I having the thought that, like, I'm surrounded by 80 really mean, scary guys and not sending the message I thought I should send? Yeah.
That's
scary, dude.
Oh,
That's
for
scary.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I gotta ask, because every time we put it out there to ask questions, but it's correctional officers, this is always a top of the list question. How gay is prison?
Less gay than what the media portrays.
Really?
Yeah. Most, from my experience, and in Max it's different, right? So I can't speak for other places.
These guys are
minimum. It might be one thing.
Okay.
Towards the back half of my career, Max kind of started loosening up on some restrictions, to where we started double selling guys. We started having some general population.
Yeah.
And so that's when a lot of like the inmate on inmate violence started, and so it wasn't always administrative segregation. That was about 2 or 3 years. I think in all that time, I don't know if I don't remember ever seeing a non-consensual rape.
Got it.
Like a power rape. Like, I don't remember.
I guess your facility is much different. 'Cause
Much
you talk
different.
to other guys and they're like, oh, dude, it's
Now, consensual sex, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that happens. Now, keep in mind, there is no such thing as consensual sex in prison, right? If you see it, you have to stop it. Like, you're obligated. It's illegal. All sex is rape, right? But that, like, where guys getting held down in the shower and pounded by 6 dudes and raped that way.
Not in your facility.
Never saw it. Can't say it doesn't happen, though.
For sure.
Yeah.
What's one of the most violent things that you've seen inside the walls?
Man, I've seen. I mean, I saw 2 executions.
Really?
Yeah.
How did that go down?
But that's not violent, right? That's just death.
That's kind of violent.
But like, I was lucky because there were quite a few murders that happened when I was there.
Yeah.
But not at my facility. I never had an inmate get murdered. I had plenty of inmates kill themselves. Never had one get murdered. An inmate got murdered at the prison next to mine with a weight off the weight pile, like a barbell weight.
Really?
Got his head bashed in like a watermelon. And I had the inmate come in to Max that did it, and just stone cold, no remorse. Like, he was trying to get initiated, and the gang he was trying to initiate with told him to do it, and just killed the guy. Yeah. But violence that I've seen, man, I think it's all just like pretty typical run-of-the-mill stuff. Like, people getting stabbed, people getting cut open. I've seen plenty of people that I thought were going to die.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge misconception people have, that like the human body is so resilient.
For sure.
You have, if you have the will to survive and the will to live, you can withstand some insane things. And I remember seeing some people where we're like holding people's faces and body parts together to like stop bleeding. And I'm thinking, like, this dude's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like back from the hospital like 6 hours later, and I'm like having a conversation with him, and I'm like, how are you alive? This is crazy. So yeah, man, a lot of blood, a lot of violence. But I never had anyone get murdered, which is good.
This is a great question from a listener. Is, if, as you being a CO in a prison, if you got locked up, how do you survive?
Dude, we actually had quite a few cops come through.
Really?
Yeah, dude. And those guys, so what ends up happening is they go right into administrative segregation. It's like straight into lockdown. They're not protective custody, so they don't have to get put with sex offenders and stuff, but right into lockdown so that nobody can get to them, because they will get got.
Oh, for sure.
Like, that fast. Cops, sheriff, like county jail guys, COs, like, like it's on site, right? And so straight into segregation, and then what we end up doing is shipping them out of state, so no one knows who they are.
Yeah, but don't they check papers?
I mean, I don't know what happens when they get shipped out of state. I don't know if they can put something on their paperwork that says something different, but like, I remember we got this guy from Eagle. He was an Ada County sheriff, and he killed his wife, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure they found her in his trunk in Eagle. And I remember him coming in and like, he was just a normal guy. Just like, and we never had issues with him. He was yes sir, no sir, respectful, and we had him for a couple months, and then he disappeared, and I never saw him again. But we had quite a few cops like that, and yeah, they get shipped out of state.
So I guess the question would be like, the knowledge that you have learned from working inside of a prison, what's the best play?
How do you survive?
How do you survive knowing everything that you've learned now?
I think the joke that you always hear people say about like, you find the biggest guy and fight him on the first, that is literally the dumbest advice I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I would say so.
Yeah. I think the first thing is nobody's going to do you any favors. Like, favors don't exist, right? Okay. So on day one, find a place to sit, find like, just do the normal thing you see people do. So don't stand out. When you go to if you're in a medium security facility and you're going to chow, find a place to sit. If guys tell you can't sit there, don't sit there. Like, just go find somewhere else to sit. Find somewhere to sit and just do the normal things you see people doing. But when I say there's no favors, when a guy says like, hey, do you want my apple? There's no favors, right? Don't take anything from anybody. Don't get indebted to anybody on even the smallest thing, because that debt will lead to the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And if people try to press you, you have to stand up for yourself.
Really?
That's the other thing, is like, you can't take things from people, but you also can't get stuff taken from you, right? So there's this balance of like, if you think you're a tough guy, you're going to get smashed. Like, if someone says like, hey, give me your apple, and you try and fight that guy, you're going to get smashed.
For sure.
Like, and he's going to find backup. He's probably affiliated.
Got some friends in there.
Yeah, he's probably affiliated. You're going to get smashed. So there is a way to stand up for yourself and hold your ground without being pushed over, because as soon as you get pushed over, well, now you're a target, and people are going to keep pressing you and keep pressing you. And before you know it, you're going to be paying rent to live places.
No,
that's a very real thing. Like, people get extorted for money, for commissary, for all these things, just to live in a unit if they can't stand up for themselves.
Really?
Yeah.
Or you're getting extorted for them to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Right?
Same shit. Same shit. Yeah. And it's like, so you got to walk this line of like, I'm not a hard ass. I'm not a pushover. I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
Like, live in the middle. Don't stand out. Live in the middle. You don't have to. It's not like the state of California. Like, you don't walk in on day one and have to choose who you're going to run with. Like,
that's what's crazy to me, is that statement right there. Because I feel a lot of people that go to prison, max, minimum, whatever it may be, on, let's say, dude got caught with a little coke or meth, whatever, right? Then you go in and now you get sucked into a group. Yeah. Now they're having you carry out things for them. Now you're just adding time, which I feel is a major problem in our correctional facilities, and how they're so corrupt is because as long as they have inmates in beds, they're printing money.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to.
It's a racket.
And I want to get to that point, because I have you what?
I have an opinion about that.
Good.
Yeah.
I definitely want your opinion, but it's like, but we're not helping anybody in prison. We're making, if anything, the situation's worse, or I feel the good guys stay in the longest because they get caught up, and then they're just letting the guys that they know are going to a repeat offender, because they're going to be right back. And then it goes through the process, through the state, feds, whatever it may be, and every step along the way, someone's getting paid.
Yeah.
So as long as you have this revolving door of dudes that are fucking up, I feel owning a prison is probably one of the most lucrative job secured in the world, is being in charge or having a prison, because it is just, paying their correctional officers $13 a day.
Yeah.
Inmates are doing everything for them. I mean, it is the ultimate business plan is to own a prison.
You know, mandatory minimums are one of the worst things to happen to. You know what a mandatory
What's a
minimum is?
mandatory minimum?
I'm going to screw up my timeline, but I think, if I remember right, mandatory minimums really came about in the 90s. And mandatory minimums were basically like correctional lobbyists' way of saying, hey, we need to assign a prison sentence to people to where if they do this, they get this.
Okay.
And there's no gray area. It's mandatory minimum.
Okay.
So like if you get caught with a pound of meth, the mandatory minimum is like 15 years, right? So that to me is bullshit.
Okay.
Mandatory minimums should be unconstitutional
For sure.
because it doesn't factor in anything else.
Got it.
All that goes out the window. You get your mandatory minimum. So you could be a first-time offender, 22 years old, you know,
Doing 10 years.
doing 10 years fixed because you were, you know, driving around with someone else's cocaine, delivering it for him, right? Which I'm not saying is good. Like, I'm not saying
There
it's
should be
good.
punishment. You got caught.
But
Do your
there
time.
should be all the extenuating circumstances looked at.
Yeah.
And mandatory minimums were passed to keep people in prison, to keep a certain head count in prison. And it was passed by these private prison corporations. These guys were taking these contracts to run these prisons. They need bodies in the prisons, right? That's how they make their money.
Making money.
So they passed these mandatory minimums to keep the body count high.
That makes so much sense.
Right? So in the state of Idaho, you know, when we're shipping all these dudes out of state, we're paying more money for these guys to go out of state.
Taxpayer
It's
dollars.
so much money to send people out of state. But it's like our recidivism rate is, like when you leave prison, if you recommit and then come back.
Okay.
Our recidivism rate at one point was like 85%. Insane.
Job security.
Job security, dude, with mandatory minimums. It's like a cycle. And the state of Idaho will tell you, they will be like, no, we are doing everything we can to keep people out of prisons.
Fuck no, you're not.
Ass, dude.
That's the biggest lie ever.
Listen, when I'd started, they had just stopped using the term inmate. Okay. The PC like culture was like, no, we don't want to call them inmate anymore because that's like derogatory. We want to call them offender because they offended society and whatever. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll bite off on that. So we called everyone offender. Well, now it's resident. Yeah, they call them residents. And it's like they're getting it. And this all comes back to why I left, which we'll get to at the end. I'm not ready to go there yet. But like it's this idea that if we just treat people really nice, they won't come back. Like, let's just treat people like people. Let's talk to them like it.
How does that work?
Bro, listen, there are some people who the only language they speak is violence.
For sure.
That's it.
And that's where they need to be.
And that's what they need to get.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that, like, we're all human. Like, I'm going to treat you respectful. I'm going to be respectful. You be respectful to me. And we're not going to have any problems.
Mm-hmm.
But the prison at one point started doing this thing where we shifted away from when I had started, and it was all this, like, no questions asked. They screw up this much. It's like face on the floor. That was it. Black and white. They shifted to this model of like kinder, gentler, where they wanted you to like put your hands up in like a defensive posture and you take a step back and you would say like, is there anything I can do to like de-escalate the situation? Like
you're asking a lifer this question.
Bro, I remember sitting in the meeting when they were rolling this out and just being like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. Like they're selling it to us like we're doing this like cut. I'm sitting here listening like this is going to be the greatest thing ever, because what's going to happen is staff members going to be like, is there anything I can do to like de-escalate and like not get in a fight? And the inmate's going to jump on them, and then they're going to call me, and I'm going to come in and like right? So I'm like, this is great. Like use of forces are going to go way up. I'm going to be in the action even more. This is great. Sure enough, what happens? Yeah, it was great. It was chaos. It was chaos. It was the dumbest thing we ever did. And it just got worse.
100%.
It just got worse. When I'd started, I think I was that window getting smashed out in my eye when I got that fan motor was like the worst staff assault in probably 2 years.
Okay.
Prior to that was when my friend got stabbed in the neck and in the head. Boom, boom, boom. it was like 2 years. It's like no major staff assaults. Like, yeah, people get spit on and shit thrown on them, right? But like nothing major. After window smashing and we moved to this new model, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, so-and-so got beat with a lock and a sock. So-and-so got, beat with a soap in a sock. So-and-so, and all of a sudden it's like, is no one else realizing this uptick in like major staff assaults? Not just like getting punched and kicked, like major staff assaults. And nobody realizes that it's like corresponding with this kind of gentler bullshit model you guys are trying to sell us. And it never rang home.
Never will. They're not in the trenches.
It's crazy. I know, and that's the thing. When I left, I came back a couple months later and I did an internship down in central office, like at the headquarters. And they'd had a not a major incident, not like a riot, but like they'd had an incident out at Max while I was doing my internship where some inmates were out in the day room and they started getting spun up and the staff were telling them like, go back to your cell. And the inmates were just like, no, we're not doing it. I'm like, no, make us, right? And back in the day, like when I hate saying back in the day, it makes it sound like such a douchebag.
We're our dads now.
Back in the day. No, but like back when I'd started, if someone was like, no, make me, I'd be like looking around, be like, okay, I'm going to throw the microwave at you. I'm going to grab the fire extinguisher and hit you with it. Like, I'm like, I'm one guy on a tier with like 4 dudes saying, make me. Like, there's no rules.
Yeah.
No rules. Anything I can do.
For your survival mode.
I'll take out both restraints and just start like Michelangelo nunchucking people. Like, no rules, right? So I'm watching. So they ask me. They're like, come watch the video of what happened and like kind of talk us through some things. Like debrief it with us. I'm like, let's do it. I sit down. We watch the thing and I can see the female staff member point to the cell and I can see her like go home, right? And I can see him saying no. And I'm like, pause. And they pause it and I'm like, okay, right here. First thing, pull out pepper spray. Start gassing everybody. Like everybody gets pepper sprayed. Like, what about these guys who aren't involved? I don't care. Like, they're innocent bystanders. Sorry, but like
punishment.
We are taking control of this unit right there. And they're like, well, but they have. I'm like, no, that's it. Press play. Inmate starts chasing the staff member. She's running away on the tier, running away from this guy as he's trying to catch her. He then jumps up on a table, rips his shirt off and starts like giving the bird to the camera and like waving the staff saying, let's go, like bring more people, like let's go. And I'm like, pause. We had a chance. We had a chance when he said, no, I'm not going, right? That was it. And now look, 30 seconds later, all these dudes on the tier are like, all right, let's do this.
Just
right?
takes one.
And now all of a sudden it turns into like, we have to get these staff off the tier as fast as we can. Like they're no longer safe. Get them off the tier. We then have to activate like a planned response. We need to get body armor, helmets, munitions. Like we have to get shotguns. We have to get gas. We have to get all these things.
How long does that take?
30 minutes. And then you have to spin everyone up on like, this is the plan. And then you get a guy who maybe hasn't shot a shotgun since he qualled on it at the range a year ago. And it's like, hey, here you go. Shoot center mass. Like if you miss, reload and shoot again. Yeah. Like gas. Do you remember how to throw this? Like pull the pin, then throw, right? Like you're like talking through the basics with guys that maybe have never done this. And it's like, we could have stopped it right there. Yeah. And that's the problem nowadays is like, I still have quite a few friends that work there that were like on the response team and stuff with me. And it's just the same shit, dude. It just hasn't like the corrections pendulum swings, right? It swings just like law enforcement. For sure. Like police, probably just like the military too, right? Where you have these like ultra aggressive admin that are like, no, like we are going to own this bitch. And then you have other, like it swings back the other way and it's like, no, we got to be a little more like with the times and kinder, gentler. And it just made that job impossible.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
What's one of the oddest or funniest things that you witnessed inside a prison?
Oh, I saw a lot of odd stuff, but like I remember one time we were doing count. So count was where you like walk around and you check all the bodies, right? And make sure all the bodies are there. We're doing count late at night. And I'm walking through one of the upper decks and I look in a cell and I see this dude sitting on his bed, and it looks like his back is broken. Like his, you know how cats like arch their backs up in the air?
Yeah.
He's doing that.
Okay.
And I'm like, what the? Like, he looks like his back is broken. I'm like, is he okay? And I look, and he's bobbing his head in between his legs. I'm like, he's sucking his dick.
No.
I'm dead serious. I'm like, bleh, bleh. You know, I'm like, gosh dang it. I'm like, oh, I need to go like sanitize. I need to go like sanitize my eyeballs. And so like, I don't make a scene, right? I'm like, I see it. I'm like, oh, broken back. Oh, he's sucking his dick. And I turn around, and there's a new staff member with me. And I'm like, hey, he's got something he needs to talk to you about when you come by the cell. And he's like, oh yeah. And like, as a new guy, you're like kind of excited. He's like, oh, an inmate's got something to say to me. Like, okay, cool, yeah. And so he gets up there and he like has his flashlight, you know, he's like, hey, and he's like, oh, you know, just like, oh, and he's like, what do we do? And I'm like, well, let him finish, you know, like,
don't interrupt the guy. Oh,
it was so crazy, dude. I was like, I've never seen that before. Just like sitting in his bed, just like.
I mean, good on him, but
crazy, dude.
Geez.
I mean, that's odd. You don't see that every day.
I was not expecting that answer.
That's odd, yeah. Seen a lot of odd stuff, man.
I would.
That was odd.
I would say so. Have you ever come across like any high value people that came through?
Joseph Duncan, I don't know if you remember him. He kidnapped and murdered some kids up in northern Idaho. It's like a big national story. Oh, man, I don't remember when, but Joseph Duncan was a big one. Man, pretty much all the guys on death row at one point were big, high-profile guys.
Okay.
They were all, yeah.
Because that makes like national news.
Mm-hmm.
Is it weird talking to them, knowing that you like if you've watched their whole entire court case?
Yeah, let's talk about executing people because it's wild.
You were part of this?
Yeah, twice. Yeah.
You got to be part of 2 executions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll tell you what I did.
Absolutely.
So like, when I joined the department, and I told you I found out I wanted to be on like the correctional emergency response team, right? So those are the dudes. That's like prison SWAT. It's like you're getting called in the middle of the night to like squash out anything, right? You're doing all that. Well, there's also a fire team. There's like a hostage rescue team or a hostage negotiation team. There's a warden's escort and execution team. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
That sounds dope.
Yeah, and it's like these are the dudes who, when an execution is coming, they are like hands-on. Get the guy, put him in the chair, do the whole thing, and then are there like for the whole execution process. I'm like, well, I want to do that. And they're like, well, you need to choose between SWAT and executions.
I mean, how often are executions happening?
That's what I said. And like, we haven't executed anyone since like 96. I'm like, boring. I'm like, not doing that.
Yeah.
Sure enough. And then we execute 2 people just like right after, right? Yeah. So what's crazy is we had this unit. And it used to be, there wasn't anything out there. So when the executions came up, we like retrofitted the whole unit and it's off the prison. It's like detached. It's a detached building.
Got it.
And so they put in a cell, and the cell was like full glass on the wall so you could see into it, and just like a bed, sink, toilet, right? And so when the death warrant gets issued, the death warrant is when the judge says like, all appeals have been exhausted. You have 30 days to live, and then you're being executed by the state of Idaho, and he signs it, right? Yeah. When the death warrant gets issued, you go down to the inmate's cell, and you tell him, and then you escort him out to the execution building. And he doesn't have a say, right? It's like, that's it. Mm-hmm. When he's out there, you have to sit with him for 30 days. That whole 30-day clock, you sit there and watch him, like in shifts, because you don't want him to kill himself. It's like, you're not going to kill you. We're going to kill you. You know what I mean? And
really?
Yes, dude.
Why not just save the taxpayers and let them just...
Bro, it's like...
some rope.
That's the thing is like, I'm tasked with your safety. So you aren't going to commit self-bodily harm or hurt yourself until we legally have a lawful order from a judge to execute you.
Got it.
So you're sitting there with the dude, like counting down the days until he's getting executed. And the conversations you have with a guy, like it's one thing when someone dies because they just like kill themselves in their cell, right? It's kind of just like, oh, whatever, he's dead. It's really strange to have a clock and be like, you got 8 days, dude. What do you want to talk about today? And
really?
you're just sitting there talking to a guy.
What's the mindset of these guys? they accepted it, or are they like remorseful? Or?
They'd been on death row for like 30 years by this point, right? And so a lot of acceptance, but it's just odd. It's just odd. Like that's one of those things. Like no one can prepare you to be sitting with a dude about to die. It's just strange. And like their rules kind of go out the window on a lot of things. So like their parents would come visit and the warden would just be like, yeah, let them into the cell and let them have an hour together of contact visits.
Really?
So you're sitting there with the door open, family in there as they're crying, sobbing, saying like talking about, you were such a good kid and we loved you and well, where did we go wrong?
Like dying within days.
Oh, and I'm just sitting there like, another Tuesday, got football practice to go to after this, And so as this is going on, they're now like rehearsing executions in the next room. So when the execution actually happens, dude, what's so crazy is there's doctors from the community that are assigned to this.
Okay.
They wear hoods. They don't bring IDs. They don't get their IDs checked. They come rolling up into the rear into the rear gates in a van. You're not allowed to see who they are. You're not allowed to check IDs. You're not allowed to do any of that. You just let them in. They roll into the back. They jump out, full hooded, like robes, everything. So you can't see their shoes. You don't know if they're men or women or anything. Go in. They train with the equipment. They place, the IVs. They do the whole thing. We used lethal injection, and it was like a 3-drug cocktail, right? Like the first one would numb you. The second one would put you to sleep, and the third one would stop your heart. And so they're doing the whole thing, and all this is going on in the next room while I'm just sitting there with the dude like, this is going to be you in a couple days,
This is wild.
It's so crazy. And so then when they actually do the execution, they have like the victims' families sitting behind one wall and the inmates' families sitting behind another wall. So they're separate. And then, he's like in a chair with the machines, and in the room you have the warden, and then you have the medical staff, the medical team. There's a false wall behind it with the wheat team, right? The warden's extraction and execution team. There's a false wall here. And so if at any time the inmate like slips a restraint, spits out a handcuff key, any crazy thing that could go wrong, they crash through the wall and secure him.
Okay.
That's something people don't know. Fake wall in there. It's pretty crazy. But it is kind of like the movies in the sense that the warden like reads the death warrant, tells him like, you're hereby, being executed by the state of Idaho, blah, blah, blah. Do you have any last words? Inmate says his last words and then start the injection.
How long's the process?
I don't actually know. So on the first one, I had a really cool job on the first one. The first one, I manned this red phone, right? The only person at that point that can stay the execution is the governor, I think the attorney general, and like the president of the United States,
okay.
Right? And so they like bring this red phone in, and I'd been here for maybe a year, and they're just like, set the phone down, plug it in. They're like, you man the phone. I'm like, what do I do? They're like,
answer it.
If it rings, answer it and call us immediately. And I'm just like, okay. I just sit there like waiting for the phone to ring. Phone didn't ring. And then like it comes over the radio that like, as of blah, 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 like, it's executed.
No.
That's it.
Shit.
And then he's gone. And then they, the medical staff right out the back door. They don't check IDs, don't check anything. Just roll right out. Inmate gets confirmed dead by the coroner and zipped up in a bag, and out he goes, gets cremated.
And that's how they execute.
That's it.
Because we just brought back the firing squad here.
We did.
Which I fully support.
You want to know something crazy about that? So the firing squad in Idaho, it was in a separate building, right? It was in like a single wide trailer. And it was basically like a wall of sandbags, and they would put like Visqueen, like Visqueen, like tarping over the sandbags, and then like on the floor, and then basically like a kiddie pool to like catch the blood. And he'd just be like sitting there, and then they would have the wheat team with the rifles, and they would shoot him. And part of the reason why we stopped doing it was because if he's still living after the rifle shots, one of the staff had to walk up with and this is written in the policy, with I think it was a 357, and put it to the, like behind his ear to the back of his head, and just, oof. And so at that point, you're getting into a really weird area, right? Because when you're doing the rifle shot, it is like what you see on TV where like nobody knows which rifles are loaded. Right? Have you heard that before?
I've heard they like will do blanks or something like that, so nobody is 100% who actually.
So you don't have to carry that on your conscience, right? You don't have to be like, I executed so and so. I mean, some people might want that, right? But like,
if
a
it
lot
was
of
a
people
pedophile,
don't.
I would 100% volunteer for this.
After we executed the first guy, I was surprised how many people had like trauma that were on the execution team.
Oh, from just lethal injection?
Yeah. I was surprised because I'm just like,
if it was some dude, see, this is where I would have mixed feelings. Like if it was some guy murdered somebody 40 years ago, he's been on death row for 30. Let the motherfucker.
I got a great story about this.
Let him live out his time.
Yeah.
Now, some chomo that comes in there and is a serial rapist and diddling kids, where do I sign? Like I have
Bro.
no soul when it comes to that shit. If I could take evil off this planet, sign me up. I'll have my conversation with God later on. But
you want to talk about like the type of people these are. So one of these dudes that we executed, I think it was the second one. He had his crimes were in the 70s, if I remember right. Like this is old.
Yeah.
It was 40 years ago, right? And his MO was the exact same. It was like all of his victims were in like a 5-mile radius of his house. It was like wait till they're home alone, all young girls alone. Break into the house, get a knife, stab them, leave the knife, leave that, he's the exact same. Yeah. He did it like 4 times in like a short span over in Pocatello. It's like boom, 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 boom. And so they caught the dude, arrested him, slam dunk, death penalty, here we go. So the warden's like, do you have any final words? This piece of shit, dude. You have all the victims' families there, parents, siblings, all the things, who are there getting the like closing chapter to this 40-year-old story.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, I don't remember the names of the families, but he's like, to the Jones family, sorry for what I did to your daughter. Can't take it back, but like only God can judge me at this point. He had this like rehearsed thing. Right? To the Smith family, he says the exact same thing. Sorry I did to your daughter. Only God can judge me. The Roberts family, same thing. Only God, blah, blah, blah. Gets to the last one. The Johnson family. I didn't kill your daughter. Can't help you. And just lays back. 100%, without a doubt in my mind, he killed that girl. Exact same.
Did that
one last time. Just one last time to be able to get one more. And now, this family who came thinking that they were getting the closure has this like either a little bit of doubt or this like, and they're going to live with that now forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one more way that you can torment somebody.
Yeah, they need to go.
Those are the type of people we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, man, nah. Like, they can die.
I know you were in Max, and none of those dudes are going anywhere, but did you ever, as a correctional officer, run into anybody out in town?
Oh, dude, yeah. Oh,
really?
yeah. I thought I was, oh, yeah. I was in a unit. And I'll tell you what's so crazy. Yes, it happened quite a few times, but the scariest, quite a few times. But the one time I was really like legitimately scared and kind of was like, I might die, actually stems back in. So I was in prisons. It was about 45 days prior. Had some issues with a guy. We were in the foyer in one of the units, and he started getting spun up, and he took off after one of my friends to go attack him. I'm standing kind of just like bladed off of the edge of him, and I see him take off, and I reach out and I grab him by the horse collar and pull him down, and we get into a scuffle. Well, in the scuffle, I busted his ribs. I went to knee him, and I was aiming for his thigh, and I kneed him in the ribs and busted his ribs. And so I didn't know he had 45 days left. I had no idea. And so he goes back, we scare him to all the things, and he goes back to his cell. Every single day when I walked by his cell from then on, it was like, I have 44 more days, and I'm coming to your house. I'm going to like rape and murder your wife, and then I'm going to murder you, and you're going to watch it, and there's nothing you can do. Next day, same thing. 43 days. 42 days.
So this dude's counting down the days.
And he's telling me.
He's counting down the days to you till he gets out and finds you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. After, and it was like, it wasn't like it was like a year from now. It was like his ribs are still broken. He's still like unable to like stand up straight and take deep breaths. And he's telling me like, I'm going to kill you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I will find you and kill you. This also speaks to how screwed up I was at this point in my life in prisons. Because inmates would say shit like that all the time.
Sure.
And when you're new, it's like, oh my gosh, like he's going to kill me. When you've been there for a while, it's kind of like, all right, like bring it on. Like, I'm not hard to find. Like, look me up. Come find me. Like, let's see. Like, we'll do it. You want to do it in here? We can do it on the street. Like, I don't care. Come find me. Right. And so like we kind of had this like air of like almost arrogance. I mean, not almost, it was arrogance. We had this air of arrogance. Right. And I remember him saying that to me and being like, we could do one of two things here. Like, I could report this and be scared and all the things, or I could stand up to him and be like, all right, like, come find me. So he says this to me, 45 days. And I'm like, look me up. I'll tell you where I live. I live off of Vista. Like, I live off of Vista. I'm like 6 miles from here. Come find me. Like, I will kill you. And you know that. So like, I'm not backing down from this dude. So every single day this goes on. Sure shit, dude. I quit the department in August of 2015. I quit because I was starting grad school at Boise State. I quit, and like 2 days later, I'm in grad school. I'm walking out of class, first week, walking out of Boise State. And as I'm walking out with two of my kids I just met. And sure shit, he's standing outside the doors.
No.
At campus, at the business building.
He found you?
He's standing there. And I'm like, I like look at him, my friends, and I'm like, you guys need to run and call the police. And they're like, why? I'm like, just do it. And I walk out. Like, there's double doors. I walk out the first one. And as I'm walking out the second one, I'm like, I'm either going to get like shot, stabbed, like it's going down, but like I am not.
Yeah.
I told this guy to come find me. He came and found me. Like, I'm not backing down from this. I don't have anything on me, right? Because I'm at Boise State. I don't have a knife. I don't have a gun. I don't have anything. I walk out the second door. We make eye contact from like here to this desk, right? He's like 10 feet away. We make eye contact, and he just gives me kind of like I found you, motherfucker. And I'm like, let's go. Like, let's do this. Like, at Boise State camp, like right now, let's do this. And he gives me kind of and turns around and walks away. Just like I told you I would. And I was like, I'm here. And he didn't do it. So yeah, that was the most scared I had been outside of prison.
For sure.
I didn't think,
because that means he knows where you were driving.
He called me on it. Yeah,
he was following you. I mean, he was watching.
Dude,
you don't just show up to a college campus and know what door you're going to walk out of.
And the thing is, like, I think back now as a 35-year-old man and not a 25-year-old asshole. And I'm like, I had no business walking out there. Like, why did I think I should have walked, right? It's like, I still had this prison mentality of like, no, it's dog eat dog. Like, this is a jungle, right? Like, only the strong survive. Like, that's that prison mentality of like, you cannot back down. Any sign of weakness and like your food, right? And now as a adult, a man with 4 kids, I'm like, bro, why did I just be like, screw this? Like, I'm calling the police. Like, right. I need some help, dude. But like, that just shows you, like, I had that prison mentality, man. And I feel really lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I can picture it. I know his name.
That one lived with you for a while?
No, it like didn't. And that's the other thing. It's like, I didn't think much of it. You know what I mean? Because back then I'm like, this is just my life. Like, this is what I do.
Damn, he found you.
And now I'm like, whoa, that was scary. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Bro.
Yeah. I had people all the time telling me like, I'm going to come find you. And just be like, no.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like, come find me.
He did. He called your bluff.
He found me. Found me at Boise State. I told him I lived off of Vista, right? Which I did. I lived right off of Vista. If you think about it, if you drive down Vista, you drop down below the train depot, and Boise State's right there.
Yeah.
It's like 2 miles from my house. So he probably found me at my house on Vista, found that I went to school, and waited for me. That was lucky. That wasn't my best choice. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
We all have those moments.
That's crazy, man.
Damn.
Crazy. Yeah.
That's
I don't know of many stories where shit spills over from prisons.
Oh, you don't know many?
I don't know many. I don't know of any, actually. Like, usually it's kind of like what happens in there stays in there, you know, and like people get out and they go back to their girlfriends and whatever, and like, no, that one spilled over. It's just crazy.
What is the public not understand about prison life? Or just prison?
I think what I just said about that, like, it's a jungle. Like, it is a jungle mentality. You have to leave everything you know about living in the real world behind and adopting this mentality of like weakness. There is no room for weakness, especially as a CO. Like, you cannot show weakness. Even if you're scared, like, you got to do it scared.
You get labeled a bitch. Like, that's...
Yeah, and then it's over. Like, you might as well just quit, right?
I don't think a lot of people understand the term bitch.
Yeah. Same thing like a punk.
Punk's another
Punk's
one.
another one. I said that one time. I almost
Called somebody a punk?
I didn't know. I was new. I almost got my shit kicked in, dude.
Yeah, I mean, because you think about it, once you get labeled a punk, bitch, whatever, I mean, punk probably being the biggest one.
Yeah, because
you're done.
Punk is basically saying, like, you cannot, like, people rape you and take advantage of you and you can't do anything about it. Like, that's what a punk is.
Yeah.
And so if you call someone a punk, you're basically saying, like,
you're a simp.
Like, you're so weak that, like, men hold you down and rape you.
And you called somebody a punk in the early days.
I didn't know. I was just like, in like common, just on the street, it's nothing to be like, that dude's such a punk, dude. Yeah. He's, you know, like those punk kids. And I referred to an inmate. I was talking to a laundry worker, and we were talking about what the inmate I was talking to was our janitor, and I was just like, oh yeah, you know, blah, blah, blah. He's such a little punk sometimes, and he was just like, I'm gonna let that one go. Because they were boys, right? They were like, they lived together. And he's like, I'm going to let that one go. I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to tell anybody. He's like, I know you're new, but like, that's your pass. And I was like, whoa. Okay. Never again.
Noted.
He's like, that's your pass, man. Yeah.
Dude,
he's a laundry worker. I mean, minimum security guy. Just like, you're still going to get it from a laundry worker.
When working max security, these dudes are locked up 23 hours a day.
Yeah.
What does confinement do to these guys? Is it a good or a bad thing?
There was a big push at one point to make administrative segregation unconstitutional, like a violation of I think it's the 8th Amendment or the Cruel and Unusual Punishment Amendment.
Okay.
Massive court case because it has been proven that it leads to like long-term deterioration of their mental health.
For sure.
And I've seen it, like scary seeing it.
Really?
Where guys come in like caged beasts, you know, like a lion, and they are ferocious. And 2 years later, like they're unrecognizable.
Just breaks them.
Yeah. And so you start thinking, I mean, we had guys.
So were you pro or
I'm
or against?
I'm pro, but not at the scale that we did it.
Okay.
We did it with 390 guys, like prison wide.
Yeah.
I'm probably pro like 96 guys, like one block. Because there are guys, like, don't get me wrong, there are guys that like any chance they get, you're getting stabbed. Like they will eat a sandwich over your dead body. Like they just do not care.
Even bat an eye.
There's nothing there. Those guys should be locked down. But there were also a lot of guys that like, I don't know, man, if you stab somebody in like a gang affiliation thing, like an initiation, I mean, all right, you know, lock them down for a month or two and then back on the yard. Like,
yeah,
we were breaking people. Yeah.
Is prison justice more effective than our judicial system justice?
That is a good question. I don't know.
Okay.
Because the state of Idaho in particular, they are making such a push right now to making prison more comfortable for people. And so like, they get these they get these like video devices where they can like watch movies and send video calls and emails. And like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Instagram page where they like have these videos of inmates where they're like, I'm so-and-so, like put money on my commissary.
Yeah, you see all these like beautiful women. Yeah, they go viral.
It's crazy.
Like, I'm Susan. I'm like, and I'm like, what is this?
That's what I'm saying. Like the state is making such a big push right now for that. And
that doesn't make any sense.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like I don't want people to be tortured. Like I'm not for like,
we shouldn't be glorifying.
Right. I'm like, I have seen people get institutionalized, right? I remember like we had a guy one time who topped out his sentence. So topped out means like you've hit your date of when you finished it. Okay. And on the way out, assaulted a staff member so that he could stay, right? And
so what do they do on the outside?
Bro, what do you do? When you've been in prison for 15 years and that's all you know, like you're terrified to go back. Mm-hmm. And so that institutionalization is real. And when we make it so comfortable and so easy,
then they don't want to leave.
So,
which the facilities want, because then it's a guarantee. It's just
what we talked about. And so I think the right answer is somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
But man, that's just above my pay grade, man. I was a knuckle dragger.
For sure. Do you, as a correctional officer, do you feel the prison system is built to rehabilitate or just warehouse people?
Yeah. I think the state of Idaho is going to do a certain amount that looks good to the public and to the state legislature.
Okay.
So at one point, the state of Idaho gave out more GEDs than any other high school in the state.
Okay.
So it was like, on paper, you're like,
I support
great.
that.
Like they're doing that. They make the state license plates. They have state fire. They fight fires for the state. Like there are certain aspects of things where good is happening, okay, where we're utilizing labor and people. We're teaching them skills. There's a lot of that, like where they're learning how to paint, they're learning how to weld, they're learning how to do these things, right? Okay. Now you take that. The flip side of that is what we talked about. If we really believed that we were trying to rehabilitate and get people out, we wouldn't keep violating people's, not violating parole, denying people's parole. We wouldn't keep tagging on, like, dude, we were just, I just think about like some of the people I had in there, 390 maximum security dudes, maybe 200 of them should have been there.
Okay.
And the rest were just like bodies. Meanwhile, I'm shipping dudes to Texas and Colorado and all these other places because we're overpopulated. And then the state is asking for more money to be able to pay for this. And all while I'm making $13 an hour. And I'm like trying to like, how does this make sense?
Right.
How does this make sense? It doesn't to me. And I guess I'm not a bean counter, right? I'm sure, a low level guy on the totem pole, but it felt like the state needed bodies in prison. There was a certain amount they would do to look good to the state legislature, for sure, check certain boxes. Sure. But outside of that, no, we need bodies.
Where do you see the biggest problem with our correctional facilities?
Man, this is a good question because in the state of Idaho, it's probably so different than California or Texas or wherever.
From your experience here.
From my experience, the staff turnover is, I mean, it's so bad. I remember at some points like doing 16-hour days. Really? Because I would do my 8. They would need help for overtime, which you didn't get paid overtime.
What?
Yeah, you'd get paid time off. So you'd work 8 hours, you'd get 8 hours of time off. But the problem was we were so understaffed, you didn't get to take the time off. So
you're working for free.
I'm working for free.
You're working in a maximum security prison for free.
Yeah. I would work a 16-hour day.
Make that make sense.
Bro, listen. I would work a 16-hour day. Get home, shower, eat, sleep for like 5 hours, wake up, turn around, come back. Oh, we need to hold you over again. Work a 12-hour day. It's like the burnout is insane. The pay is stupid. people were making more money going to work at like Chick-fil-A.
100%.
You know? Yeah. So like, who wants to do this? And I always tell people like, I know that cops have had a really bad go of things in the last few years, but like there's still a lot of support for police, right? There's like the thin blue line. There's all these like cops eat free and cops get a discount and cops, which is great. Like they have an impossible job. Nobody gives a shit about corrections officers. And I'm not taking anything away from police, but like maybe 5 to 10% of police interactions are with scary bad guys. I don't know. I'm pulling that out of the air, right? But like for the most part, most interactions are with guys like us, like soccer moms, like normal people. 100% of a corrections officer's interactions are with
Worst of the worst.
bad dudes, right? And yet, like, we are the stepchildren of law enforcement. Like when we were in the police academy, dude, like we did not belong. Like the patrol and like state troopers and all those academies are going on, detention academies, like they laughed at us. They didn't want us there. Like,
where do you think this stems from? Because
yeah, no, fire. You're not gonna hurt my feelings.
No, it's the listeners that are correctional officers. When I personally think of a correctional officer, and this is gonna sound fucking ignorant, but I feel like it's just this fat,
out of shape,
belly hanging over his duty belt, walking a tier. That's my vision. I don't know why and where this came from of a correctional officer.
Yeah, that's the 99%, man.
Okay, so so where do we? And it all comes down to pay, right? That's the biggest thing. And I say this about cops too. Like we want better cops, better training, better funding.
Better training, better funding.
That's the key to everything. Because then when you're putting people on a higher pay scale, better training, they're held to a higher standard. Then there's no excuse. There's no escalation of force and beating the fuck out of some random drunk dude because you're pissed off. Like you know you're about to lose your job. That it has great benefits, great pay. You just have to do your job inside the regulations that you're given.
Yes.
I think with correctional officers, and maybe it goes back to the shows when we used to watch when we were kids, you'd see this black woman, motherfucker, like screaming on a tier and just getting talked all, and you're just like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this? And you're like, they're putting a woman in any prison with dudes. Like that blows my mind. And so it's like, where does it change?
Yeah, you know, I'll say I do actually really strongly believe that there is a place for women in corrections.
Really?
Even in Max, 100%.
Really?
I'm very, very, very supportive of it.
Really? Yeah. I am 100% not.
Yeah, well, here, let me tell you, and this is why.
Yeah, please, enlighten me on this.
This is why.
I'm one of those.
Yeah, and I'm not going to try and change your mind.
No. I would love to hear it because I'm not a correctional. I've never been in the same with a cop, but I look at cops. I look at other position, military front lines.
Yeah.
There's no reason for a woman to be on that for me.
So I think we innately have different skill sets.
1,000%.
And so when I was in the thick of it, right? I remember one day this inmate being like, I was walking a tier. I walked by his cell and he's standing in the window and he's waiting for me. And he goes, I want to fight you today. And I was like, excuse me? And he's like, I want to fight you today. And I was like, this never happened. I'm like, what is happening? And I just go, well, you know what you need to do, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, well, you do what you got to do. I'll do what I got to do and I'll be back. And he's like, all right. And he covered up his window. And when I say cover up the window, what that means is like, we have to be able to see inside the cell,
it's a safety
right?
thing.
It's a safety thing.
Get it.
And so he was already ready. He already had like the paper and everything, and he covered up his window. I said, all right. And I get on the radio and I say, hey, so-and-so covered his window. I say, hey, I'm giving you a direct order on cover your window. Fuck you. All right. He's refusing all orders. We assemble the response team. Copy that. So like we did it. And we came, did the whole thing. We fought, and, game over. You put a woman in that exact same situation. I want to fight you today. She is going to be so much more receptive to like, well, what's going on? Like, why would you like?
I get it.
What?
Yeah.
Like, are you having did something happen? Like, are you having a bad day? Like, is there something like, do you need to talk to a clinician? Like, talk to me, right? That's the difference.
Would you
And I
actually
think that's
see that-
important.
Would you see that work though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. What would piss me off so bad is, and it didn't happen on the specific incident when I talked about where I was like, the guy was just like, I want to fight you. But like, it would happen where I did not communicate. I was like, one direct order, you tell me no, all right, I'm out. I'll be back.
For sure.
And we're going to like, not my policy, but like my like ethos was ask, tell, make. Right? I'm going to ask you to uncover the window. I'm going to tell you to uncover the window. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to make you uncover the window. Like, that was it. And that's a simple way to live, man.
Sure.
Like, ask, tell, make. Man, I would leave. I would go start dressing down, like getting all the goon squad is what you call it, like getting the goon squad ready. And then I'd hear over the radio, like, hey, so-and-so uncovered their window. Yeah, like officer so-and-so talked him down. She's de-escalating the thing.
Okay.
And,
okay.
And okay. So I'm like, I'm pissed. I'm like, no, we gave that guy a chance. Like he can still get hit. No, it doesn't work that way. And so we go back down. I'm like, okay, you need to turn around, get restrained, cause there's still going to be consequences.
Yeah.
There's still consequences for those actions of like making me leave, get a response team, all that. There's still consequences. But the fact that I didn't have to put myself in harm's way or like my friends, I'm okay with that.
100% okay with that. I guess where my I don't think women should be correctional officers is walking the floor with inmates.
Yeah.
Because if that dude didn't say anything to you and he's out there and he's like, oh, I'm gonna fight this dude today. How is she gonna handle it over you handling it?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Now, if there's women there that
Different skill
are
set.
great at talking and that's their skill set, that's where she's called out of her little, what's the control center where they're opening doors and all that shit. Hey,
Yeah.
you got 10 minutes, right? Or hey, let's just go see. That 100%, there's no arguing that the men and women have completely different skill sets.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it comes down to me personally is your skill is going to outperform anything in that block for her except for communicating and de-escalating.
Communicating, yes, for sure. Like not even close. Yeah.
That's just, we're not built. I'm not, somebody says they're going to fight me,
No.
pop the door. Fuck open, like, okay, let's just get this over with is my mentality. But her, she'd be like,
Bro.
And then in prison, but the caveat to that, I guess, is I feel those inmates they can feel on a predatorial instinct that they can take more advantage of a woman manipulating, grooming, all that stuff over the years, whatever it is, and you see it a lot. I mean, if you probably see it a lot. I don't feel the most average Americans realize how many female correctional officers get compromised.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. It's like there's so many variables that could go into it. So I will not deny the fact that a woman will out communicate, de-escalate way better than any man can. And we all have our roles. So yeah, I will 100% agree with you in that situation. But like walking the tier with killers, they're going to look at that woman and be like, I will fucking stomp your skull in. And they say, because they're trying to do it to you. Yeah. And I guarantee you there's a lot of male officers in there that would not be able to handle that situation.
Yeah, for sure. And like, honestly, there are times where communication should not be, communication should go out the window. You know what I mean?
There's a certain point where we're not talking anymore.
And my level of that, my threshold was very low. And oftentimes the female threshold is a lot greater. And whether that's good or bad, man, I don't know. But what I do know is that the level of staff assaults and major incidents when I was there were pretty low because of that. I remember one time, man, we had a good example of this is we had a guy, we got called to go to Utah to get a guy, and he had just killed a correctional officer in Utah. And so they were worried about his safety because they were like, hey, and this happens quite a bit. You do these inmate trades where we're like, we have a guy that we're worried about us getting because he hurt a friend or, something and they're the same thing. And so we just trade guys.
They're worried about retaliation with the correctional officers.
Yeah. Okay. And so we trade guys. So this guy in Utah had killed a CO. He faked a medical thing, went to the hospital, took his gun, shot him, and escaped. Luckily they caught him. So I go down there with some friends, go to Utah, go to the state prison down there. And I've never seen anybody like this guy, dude. He told me, we walked up and I was like, what's all this shit about? And he was like, I have like 178 like swastikas and like Hitler tattoos. It was like his whole body was like Nazis and Hitler, the whole thing. And I'm just like, oh,
he's committed.
Yeah, very. And so we walk up and we get in there and we're like, I mean, no, we didn't take anything with us. Like no gun, like not, very little in this prison. And that's important because we get up to the door and we're like, hey, time to go. You're going to Utah. He didn't even know. He doesn't know, right? So we just walk up. We're wearing all black, and we're just like, hey, back up and be restrained. You're getting out of here. You're going to Idaho. And he's like, the fuck I am? And we're like, yeah, that's not going to work. We're going to give you one more order. Back up to be restrained. You're coming with us. And he's like, he steps back away from the door. And he's like, let me tell you guys how this is going to work. And the guy I was with, the commander, he looks at me and he goes, I want you to go show this guy how this is going to work. And he puts the key in the door and I'm like, yes, just like it's on. And so he like puts the key in the door and I'm like, here we go. And before he can even like open the door, the guy's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Are you guys for real right now? Like, are you guys serious? And we're like, yeah, we are serious. Like, you're coming with us. Like, that's it. Like the negotiation phase of this is over. And he had never been talked to like that before. And so he's just like, okay. We're cool. Restrained him. Never had an issue with him. He had been so used to like his entire like career in prison of dictating the show, of like running and just being like, no, this is how this is going to go. You're going to talk respectful to me. I'm going to tell you when I'm ready. I'm going to pack my shit, all these things. And we were just like, no, it doesn't work that way. Not here. And I really attribute that to like the old guard, when I came in, teaching us that. Now, a lot of people aren't going to like that.
For sure.
People are like, there's a lot of resistance to that. And people don't like that type of corrections. But man, I tell you, we didn't have a lot of issues.
Let's shift gears. As a correctional officer, where do you see the most corrupt side of the system, or where's the biggest problem in our prison systems?
I mean, the gangs are relentless. That's tough, man. Gangs are not going anywhere. There's nothing we can really do about it. The drugs, the violence, the weapons, the cell phones, the contraband. The stronger gangs get on the streets, the stronger they're going to get in prisons. When gangs get too strong on the streets and there's these big crackdowns and they, arrest 30 members of whatever, MS-13. Well, guess what? Now they got 30 members in prison, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know what you do about it. It's a problem that you can't fix. I think you can just contain. Mm. You can just try and keep guys from killing each other. Mm-hmm. For a long time, we'd had a policy of not mixing rival gangs. It was like we'd let the Northsiders live and wreck together. We let the Southsiders, the Aryans.
That makes sense to me.
Right? It's like we didn't mix them because we knew it would just like pop off. And so we let gangs segregate. And probably 2 years into when I was working there, they were like, why are we letting these dudes dictate anything? Like, we run this place. They can wreck together. They can do all the things together, and and if we have to start shooting people, like we'll shoot, like that's what it's gonna be, dude. The first week we did it, it was in the summer. I don't remember what years. It was like 2012, 2013 or something. It was like the first day. It was like a 2-on-1, right? Like two Southsiders attacked a Northsider, and it was like the next day it was like a 5-on-3, and the next day it was like a 7-on-4. All of a sudden, like a couple days later, it's like a 30-on-16. And like, we're having these like massive, like, where we're like, oh shit, like this is, like, I don't know if it's going to work, No. And,
like throwing ant nests with each other.
We made it work though, man.
Really?
Yeah.
See, me personally, I would think that let's segregate them and then you let out all of the South Side together. Cool. They're all just out there getting their racquetball and all that shit. then you're just rotating gangs,
No.
but at the same time you're acknowledging their gang.
You're exactly, and that's
know-
the thing.
and I
you're,
get
you're
that.
giving them credibility.
Yeah, but then at the same time, I mean, you throw a bunch of freaking ant nests in on each other, and it's just
Yeah.
going to turn cannibalistic.
That's
And
what
so
happened,
you're just having a cauldron in the yard for shit shows. Have you ever been part of a riot?
I have been so we're very cautious about the term riot.
Okay.
Right? Group disruption is the term.
Because riot, it gets out into the higher ups or out into town. That sounds
No-go.
horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, short answer, no.
Okay.
Have I been a part of some group disruptions? Yeah. When I think of riot, I'm thinking of like inmates like staff have been kicked out. Like there's no staff in the unit anymore. Inmates have
Okay.
taken control.
Okay.
Inmates are destroying property to the point of like burning the building down,
free reign of the
killing
building.
people. Yeah, like
Okay.
we're talking lawlessness.
Okay.
There was a riot just before I started, and there was a riot in 2021. But there were nothing that I would consider like a full blown riot.
I guess you're right. Okay, so I guess my question was, have you ever been part of a large
Yeah.
crowd
Yeah.
disrupt?
That's awesome.
Really?
Oh, it's so fun. Yeah.
Is it just?
Awesome.
I mean, what do you guys do when you have 30 dudes
Yeah.
fighting on the yard? What the
Yeah.
hell is going on?
I haven't been a part of like those huge ball field fights, but on those, like, you're throwing gas, you're getting gas into it.
Non-lethal. Everybody's
Yep,
getting
you're
beanbagged.
doing yeah, all of it, man. And
That shit's got to be fun. I mean,
it's awesome.
I hate to admit it, but like,
It's awesome.
it would be fun to be able to just have like fish in a barrel.
Yeah, dude. And like, I remember getting called into one, when I was doing the emergency response team. I remember getting called into one, and I just sat down with a bunch of friends and started a movie, and like pager goes off, and go running in there. And a bunch of inmates made a bunch of alcohol, got drunk, started refusing orders to sell up. And so the staff are just like, we're not doing this shit for $13 an hour, and like walk off the tier. And so call us, we all show up and go in there with, gas, shotguns, lethal, less lethal, all the things. And it's like, there's only one way this ends, and like the level of force that we're going to use is going to be dictated by the decisions you make. And by the time we get there, like the negotiations are over, right? So when we come out on that tier, if you decide to be stupid, like you're getting shot,
Yeah.
and that's it. And so that's the fun thing about prisons is like, there's no losing, and you have any means necessary to take back control. And so I think that's why you get this like sense of overconfidence that like I can fight with anybody, because it's like, well, okay, I can't, but like if I lose, my friends are gonna be right behind me, and if we start losing, someone's getting shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a part of some fun ones though.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
As far as the administrative side and how our states run prisons,
Yeah.
what's your opinion on that?
It's really, it was really frustrating because I don't know what it's like now, but we would see people get promoted and put into these admin positions that came from like freaking Department of Agriculture or, some other state facility where it's like, you don't know if it's like the governor's drinking buddy or like what it is, but like people were put into these positions that had never touched a prison before, had no idea anything about it. And so they come in and they try and like enact all this change, and we're like, what are we doing? Like, this doesn't work. I'm sure you saw in the military, right?
Reinvent the wheel. It's like, we're working. Why are we changing?
Yeah,
This works.
things are working. Yeah, people aren't getting hurt. Like, this is a win. Now that's not to say that like you can't ever enact change, but like let's enact the right change for the right reasons and like put the right people in those positions. And so yeah, man, so much of like what was happening on the admin side just kind of ebbed and flowed with who was in the right positions,
How they felt.
Yeah, and I remember we had a bunch of turnover in when it was actually what happened is when we took over the state-run facility. When we took over the private facility, Gladiator School.
Yeah.
When we took over Gladiator School, now all of a sudden we have to staff an entirely new prison. So that's like a new warden, new captain, new deputy wardens, new sergeants, new lieutenant, like all that. Like, how do you get all those bodies? And we weren't going to take all the people from the private prison because we didn't know if they were corrupt or not. We kept some of them, and some of them are my friends. Like I'm still friends with some of them. But like when that happened, that shook things up so much that I then got all new administration at Max. My administration at Max came from minimum security. And I mean, you go from minimum security where it's like people are going out on work release.
Yeah.
Like you're handing people car keys and saying, all right, have it back with a full tank by 4 o'clock, you know, and they go work all day. And then they come in and they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you, hitting that guy? Like, and it's like, it's just hard, man. It's a hard dynamic to, and sometimes I also kind of feel like it's not their fault. It's not, they're put in a position that like, it's kind of destined to fail.
For sure.
So yeah, man, it's tough.
What made you decide to get out? What was your aha moment when you were done with corrections?
It was like a combination of things, man. It was like, on one hand, when I started realizing that I was the level of in the shit that I was and not feeling anything, I kind of started having this realization that like I'm in pretty deep.
Yeah.
Like that I'm able to enact this much violence and see these things and do these things, and I'm able to do this and not feel anything. Like this is not normal. I had that realization. My wife was about to have our first kid. And I remember I was a sergeant, so I'd promoted from officer to corporal to sergeant. And I remember coming home almost every day with like piss and blood and shit on my clothes. And like, I remember being like, I don't know if I want this to be like how my kids see me.
For sure.
You know, it's like people always talk about like being a dad, like it changes you, right? Well, it's like I was a monster, dude. And that's like not like when I say like I always say like I'll stand on the things I did, right? Like I will.
Yeah.
But that's not discounting the fact that I did a lot of like pretty borderline bad things. Like I was in it. And like having that realization that like my dad is kind of this asshole who does things to people and feels nothing, right? And it's like I started having this realization that like I can't do this forever.
Yeah.
At one point it's either going to catch up to me and I'm going to get caught, you know, I'm going to slip and I'm going to get caught, and then I'm going to be in some real either legal trouble or get killed or, you know, whatever. I just didn't want that, you know? And I don't think that's something, I don't expect people to understand that. I really don't. I don't expect anybody to hear that and be like, yeah, I get it. No, I don't expect people to understand it because only I know what I was doing and how I was feeling at the time.
Yeah.
There was nothing I wouldn't have done. Like, and I'll tell you a story about that after, but like there was nothing I wouldn't have done. And then the last part of it was, so there's those first two. The last part was the administration had changed so much, right? We had the change from like smash everyone and then like we need to communicate.
Yeah.
Well, the department was still trying to use me as a hammer when they needed a hammer. They would get themselves into the shit, and then they would call me and say like, hey, go over here to different prisons even, right? I'd go do something at the medium prison. I went over to the women's prison at one point and chased a woman through the desert who escaped. Like they were using me as a hammer like all over the South Boise complex. Yes, dude. And all of a sudden I get a phone call one day from my friend's mom who worked downtown at central office. And she's like, hey, you might want to lay low a little bit. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, your name is like coming across to our desk like every single day. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm doing the same shit I've been doing. And she's like, yeah, but like times are changing and you're not changing. You're doing the same thing you've always done, but they're telling you to stop.
Were they though?
Exactly. And I'm like, whoa. They're not though. They're telling me to stop, but then when things escalate, they're sending me to go do it.
Yeah.
And then I find out, like, in this conversation with her, she's like, dude, you have like multiple force cases on like in internal affairs right now. Like, this is serious. Like, they're looking at these.
No shit.
I then go to church not like right after, right? But like within this time frame of all this going on, I go to church. I meet this guy. And I'm like, hey, I'm Austin Legg, And he's like, what'd you say your name is? I'm like, Austin Legg. I was like, have we met before? He's like, no, but I know your name from somewhere. And I'm like, what? Like, never seen this guy, right? I'm like, well, what do you do? He's like, oh, he was I can't remember the exact term, but like he just graduated law school and was like training, like getting like hours in a law firm, whatever, for the state of Idaho. At the, I don't remember if it was, I think it was for the state police.
You're like, oh God.
And so he's like, telling me that he's like, yeah, I'm like working, as a lawyer, getting my hours in, blah, blah, blah. And then I see him get the big eyes like, oh, and I'm like, what? He's like, do you work for the Department of Corrections? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And he like doesn't talk to me anymore. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, this guy knows my name. Like, this is not good.
Yeah.
This is like not good.
Yeah.
And that was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
For sure.
Where I was like, I am in this so deep and don't feel like I have the support of the administration anymore because of all the changing of the guard. That like my days are limited.
For sure.
I'd only been there for 4.5 years and I'm a dinosaur at this point. It had changed that much. And so I put in my 2-week notice. I tell him I'm going to quit. And like the warden, chief of prisons, and one other dude from downtown come in to meet with me. And they're like, what are you doing putting your 2-week notice in? I'm like, I'm out of here. And they're like, why? And I'm like, what are you talking? Like, you guys are the reason why. You guys have been sending me on all these freaking death marches to go do all these things, and then you're hanging me out to dry. I'm not doing this. And they acted like they had no idea. Like, whoa. What do you? And I'm like, no, I know about the internal affairs stuff. I know that I have like use of force cases that are being reviewed by the state. Like, I know all this. So like, don't play dumb with me.
You're like, no.
You know what they said? This is the best part. They go, well, what if we promote you to lieutenant? Then you'll get like a pay bump and like you'll be in an admin position. And I'm like, did you guys not hear anything I just said? They like completely ignored all of the stuff about like, no, I am worried about my future here, either like from inmates or from, outside forces. And you guys are offering to promote me? Are you insane? Like, this is crazy.
Make it make sense.
And I was like, I'm out. Like, I am out. And so that was it, man.
Oh, shit. You made the right choice at the right time, huh?
Yeah, man. And it's just gotten worse, yeah. But let me tell you something real quick.
Yeah.
When I said that like there was nothing I wouldn't do. I don't know if I've ever said this publicly, but my friend who got stabbed in the neck and in the face, the guy who stabbed him, they had to move to a different prison. They moved him to the private prison because
Gladiator.
Gladiator school, man.
Okay.
Different staff, different set of rules, all that. Well, when we took over Gladiator school and the state's staff were now in there, we had to like cut down on the contraband. And so they would send the emergency response team on these like super early morning or late night raids. And we would run across the roof of the prison so that they wouldn't know we were coming. And then we would drop in through the escape hatches.
Really?
Yeah. And so we'd cook it across the top, because if they know you're coming, they'll flush all the drugs and hide the contraband and everything. So we run across the top, drop in the escape hatch into the control center, drop down into the foyer, they'd roll the doors open and we'd run. So by the time they could see us coming down to the time we were on the tier, it was like 30 seconds, right? Like not enough time to get rid of stuff. So as we're getting ready to go do one, a guy was like, hey, just so you know, this inmate lives on this tier.
He's here.
And I'm like, you serious? I'm like, we've never had a chance to like get this guy. And he's like, he lives in cell, And we were like, okay, this is our kind of coming to Jesus moment, boys. It was like, what are we going to do? Like he tried to kill a good friend of mine. what are we going to do? And we hatched a plan that we were going to hurt this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying hurt because that's the way to put this. We're going to hurt this guy. There's no cameras. There's nothing. And it's our word against his, right? 3 correctional staff against 1 felon who was already battered assault on a staff member. So we have this plan. We're like, we know this is going to come back to get us. We all have the same story. We'll be fine. Roll out there. Cook it past all the other cells. His rolls open. Go charge into the cell ready to, take care of it. Dude's gone. And we're like, the hell? It's like 5 a.m. Dude should be here. Dude's gone. Get done. Roll up the whole tier. Search contraband, do all the things. We get done. Like, we're like talking to people who work the unit. Like, where is he? Around 4:30 in the morning, some people came in and they grabbed him and they took him out of the facility. They literally put him in a van and drove him out and drove around town so that we couldn't get him, and then brought him back. They knew that we were going to get him. Like, they knew that we were going to get him.
Oh, that pissed me off.
Bro, it pissed me off so bad. I was like, that was my chance. I now think back as a 35-year-old father of 4. I'm like, shit, dude. Like, those are the things, man. Those are the things, like, when you're that deep into it, right? And you're, like, not seeing clearly. You're not thinking about the big picture. You're just, like, you're in the jungle, right? It's like, that is the jungle mentality, right? It's like, it is dog eat dog. Like, he got one of our guys. Like, okay, we're going to get him. That's the law of the jungle. I now sit back and think about that as a father, and I'm like, bro, I was this freaking close so many times. I walked the line. Like, there's people who would like dip a toe in the gray area. Bro, I was like walking on the black most of my, I literally, there are so many times like that where I'm like, just thank you, God, that did not happen the way it was going to happen. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know if it's divine intervention or what, but like, I walked that line way too close.
And it's scary when you don't realize it at the time. But then years later, you're like, "Full."
And that's what I said. Like,
it should have been a case.
It's good that I'm doing this 15 years later or whatever it's been, because I didn't at the time. It like was just normal. It was just the normal thing.
For sure. It's crazy hearing your version of it, because you've been so. I love to break down the psyche part of it, because being just engulfed with killers, rapists, murderer, whatever, that, and like, you almost have to adopt their mindset when you're behind those walls. Yeah. You can't come in, and people might argue it and be like, I never, because we get a lot of law enforcement.
Yeah, I'm sure people say that. And like,
I never had to, and all this shit. But I mean, we're talking max facility. Every single dude is in there for a reason. And so you almost have to go to their level of violence, their level of communication, being able to just connect with them. This isn't minimum where guys are just, hey, get your ass to the cell. We have some little gang fights here and there, whatever it may be. Like, you are just hearing like your mindset and seeing how emotional you get with it, because you got sucked in.
I see it now. Yeah, I see it. I know it. Sure.
And you've had time to reflect, and you look back on it now, and it's like,
I was in the deep end of the pool.
I feel a lot of military guys get pulled into that shit, especially in these smaller units, law enforcement. It's that community where you're surrounded with just shit.
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
So your mind and you just adapt to it slowly, day after day. It just they chip away. Because I'm sure every correctional officer goes in there like, I'm gonna make a difference. I'm gonna be the guy that connects, and I can relate to him. But then once you get you're gonna come in here, your white horse, and save the world, and you're gonna convert all these dudes. They're all gonna be Christians and all entrepreneurs when they leave.
Yeah.
But then you get shit thrown on you and piss on you every day. You're watching a dude get his throat slit just because he's the wrong color and sat at the wrong table. That numbs you, and then you become not them, but you start to adapt. And I'm not speaking for you, but it almost seems like that's you in order to survive and to make it last in a maximum security. as a CEO, like you can't just. Like, how do you relate to?
I remember the first time an inmate said that to me. It like hurt my feelings.
Said what?
He said that. He said, he looked me square in the eye and was like, "You are just like us. Like you are one of us.
Super offensive.
Like you just never have been caught. But like you are no different than us." And he like, we are looking square in the eyes to each other, and I'm just like, I'm nothing like you. Like no. Like we are nothing alike. And by the end, I'm kind of like,
fuck, I'm one of them.
I'm one of these guys. You know, like, and I remember at one point having a guy got smoked. He was a medium security guy, got just almost killed for ratting on some guys. And he was in the hospital, and I got assigned to go sit with this guy. And I get down there, and I'm like, what happened? Why are you here? And he's like, oh, I got jumped and like knocked out, stomped on by like 3 dudes. And I'm like, damn, dude, like, what'd you do? He's like, I didn't do anything. I'm like,
did something.
They're not going to the hole for nothing. Like, what'd you do? And he's like, well, and he starts telling me, and he ratted on these guys. And it was for stupid stuff. He was like, they were doing this, and I went and I told the COs, and they got in trouble. And I'm like, you're a rat? I'm like, you're an idiot, dude. I'm like, you gotta let people be. Like, let them do that stuff. Mind your own damn business. Like, that's not your job to go, whatever. And I'm telling him all this, and he's like, you sound like one of them. And he's like fresh off the street. Been in prison for like all of 2 months. And he's like, you sound like one of them. And I'm like, you're damn right I do.
I know how it works.
Right I do. Yeah. You know, but it's like, when you start hearing those things, it's kind of eye-opening to like, I'm in the shit, dude. Yeah.
I guess we could finish on this note, but is there an incident that sticks with you all these years?
Man. It's funny because like, I've actually never been asked that. But when you asked me that, I had like a dozen things go through my head really quickly. I remember one time, actually the same guy. I don't know why this popped in my head, but I think about this a lot. The same guy who I had my first force incidents with. Remember I told you he was a Native American dude, came in just crazy. And we had all kinds of, me and him, I don't know why, but like me and him got into it all the time. He was always cool with me. Like we were always chill, like never had issues, but like he would just spin himself up. And so he and I, we were in it all the time together. And one day he was out on the ball field, and most of the inmates in Max couldn't go to the ball field, but he was a mental health guy, and mental health guys kind of had a different set of rules, right? So like they could go on the ball field. He goes out on the ball field, and he starts picking up some rocks and hucking rocks at other inmates. And then he picks up a rock and hucks it at one of the mental health staff. And the mental health staff were women. So she hops on the radio, and she's frantic. And she's like terrified. And she's like, he is like picking up rocks and threatening to kill us and like throwing rocks at us and whatever. I'm like 3 doors away. I'm very close. And so I get all the doors popped open, and I run over. I'm the first one on scene. Another guy shows up with me. We get the ball field door open, get all the staff out, all the other inmates who are, not aggressive. They're just like out enjoying the sunshine. And we get them all out, and he's still out there. So now he's out there, shut the door. He's by himself. Okay. So now we have it contained. We have time now to put a plan together to take care of this. And some other people come down to respond to this. And I remember he picks up a rock, and he comes to the gate, and we're on the other side of a chain link gate. So that's all. There's like no solid door between us. And he's holding this rock, and he's like telling us like, I'm going to bash one of your skulls in basically with this rock. And it wasn't like a big rock. Like we didn't give him like boulders out there, but he'd like found a rock. Well, in the process of us putting this plan together, we'd put a rifle up on the roof. And the sergeant with the rifle had like run across the roof, and he's now standing almost directly above this guy, 15 yards away, like aiming at this dude. And I remember standing there, And I'm this far away from him as he's holding this rock and telling me he's going to bash my face in. And the shift commander is like, tell him to drop that rock. If he doesn't drop the rock, shoot him. And so I'm like, hey, I think the reason this story bothers me, I shouldn't, like, fuck this guy, right? But, like, I think the reason this story bothers me is there were times, like, mental health sucked.
For sure.
And it sucked because, like, I knew that there were times when those dudes were doing things that, like, they couldn't control.
Mm-hmm.
And the number of times that I have done things like that I've had to hurt these people because that they were out of control, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, 100 times. It doesn't, and those don't bother me. But for some reason, this dude I'd been in this situation with so many times. Him and I had gone, it was my first force incident. We'd gone to blows so many times. We would see each other and just be like, dude, like, you're crazy. No, like, you're crazy. I'm like, all right, we're both crazy. This is, that's what we do. And
a relationship.
It was just it was just dudes who like to fight each other. Mm-hmm. And now I'm standing this far away knowing like I'm about to watch your head explode like a cantaloupe if you don't drop the rock. Like, just drop the damn rock so we can fight. Like, just fight me again. And I remember telling him, like, dude, just drop the rock. Like, and I'm not like, as I'm saying this, I'm not like getting emotional, right? But like, I remember thinking in my head, like, this dude does not need to die today. Like, I don't need to watch this dude die. Yeah. He doesn't need to die right now. And I'm just like, dude, I'm like, I don't even want to say his name, but I'm like, dude. I'm looking at him in the eyes, like, just drop the damn rock. And he looks up, and he sees the rifle. And he looks back at me. And he's like, you're going to come in and get me, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right. He throws the rock, and he backs up, and he squares up. And I'm like, all right, let's do this, Door pops open. We go and fight, do our thing, like, me and him always done. Yeah. We start fighting and we get done. We get him restrained. And I'm like, dude, you didn't have to take it that far. I'm telling this. I'm like, we get him restrained. I get him out in the day. I'm like, you didn't have to take it that far. Yeah. Don't do that shit again. Like, I get, like, some people deserve to die. Like, some people are pieces of shit. There's no rehabilitation. They can get it. Like, I don't care. Yeah. There's other people, man, who suffer from, like, that's just the card they were dealt. Like, they were dealt a card that, like, they cannot control.
And nobody cares about.
And nobody gives a shit. And, like, this dude's locked up for the rest of his life. And, like, my relationship with this guy involved around us fighting each other. Yeah. I don't want to watch that dude get his head blown off this far away. He didn't deserve that. And we were this freaking close, man. Yeah. And I've thought about that, and it's funny because, like, of all the shit that I did, like, that's not the one that should stick with me. It should be the suicides. It should be the dead bodies. It should be all those things, but it's not. It's like the people who couldn't help themselves. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's where I feel we have such a huge problem in this country. And I see, like the other day, I see that Trump's cleaning up D.C., right? And like, we're going to take all the homeless to these shelters and this and this and this and this. And it's like, how? There's no shelters anymore. There's no facilities for the mentally ill. Yeah. And I have this compassion for homeless because I'm torn between the homeless because I feel a lot of them just want, it's an easier life. But then there's this huge chunk of them that are just mental and they get zero help and they've just been tossed to the streets. And then they end up doing something that ends up in your custody. Yeah. And it's like nobody cares about them. No, they're trash to society. And instead of us, and I don't even know where it starts. And I mean, bro, like I got enough on my plate. But
let me tell you, the state of Idaho doesn't have an insanity plea. Okay, we don't have a state mental hospital for people like that. And so, if there's one thing that the state of Idaho should do different, we need a state mental hospital for the violent, mentally ill, because we treat them just like every other inmate,
and they're not.
They're not. Mm-hmm. And man, I have dozens of examples of that, and like it just sucks. Like there's some people like I said, like there's some people the only language they speak is violence.
For sure.
They can get it, right? And it never bothered me. I never lost sleep over those dudes. But like the mental health thing hurt for some reason. I don't know why, but it did.
I could see that for sure. They don't half the time. They probably don't even know.
Even when those dudes would kill themselves, like when ADSEG inmates would kill themselves, like all right, like put them in a bag and ship them out. Like I don't care. I remember when there were certain dudes that those guys are just funny. Like they're dangerous. They're kind of scary. They're unpredictable. I got assaulted a lot by mental health dudes, but they're funny. They can be nice, you know, but they're victims of something they cannot control. I remember one of them died, and just kind of having that feeling of like we as the state did him a disservice.
For sure.
You know, even if we couldn't have prevented it, but like, did he need to be here? Like, could he have got help in a mental hospital, like a state-run mental facility?
Could they have found his meds that balanced him? I personally think a lot of it is a chemical thing.
Oh, for sure.
Chemical imbalance. Because you look at these people and they're perfectly fine, then something happens in them and they just boom off.
Yeah.
What caused that?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not anywhere has ever dug into the depths of that, but it's like, how do we bring them back? Like, what can we do to help them? I know there's no rehabilitating them without some major problems, major meds, major therapy. Who even knows if it's even doable? But I think we got into this point as a society where it's like, oh, he's a menace, lock him up. It's the easy thing because the state's making so much money off of it. Yes. It's going to cost the state more money to help these people, to help clean up their life, to help teach them anything. And this is my biggest problem with our correctional facilities in this country is that it is, and we talked about it earlier, it's nothing but a money grab. Because if we truly cared about not the max guys, max or max, like you're gone. But even those guys, like we can help them learn something, help them teach a skill. And then you mentioned that Idaho has pretty good programs. I mean, there's other states that you're doing nothing. You're just rotting all day, every day till your time's up. And then they just let you out. And it's like, okay, I got this dude that's done 15 years, 12 years, whatever it may be, learn nothing except for how to survive. And then now all of a sudden they get turned out to society. And then we wonder why they're back a month later. Yeah. My buddy, I had a very good friend. He passed away now. Dude, he got put away for life. He ended up catching a felony real early, and he was out of Cali. Another night, he was walking home one night. These two dudes are raping a chick in an alley. He starts defending her. Dude pulls out a knife. He ends up getting a knife from the guy, stabs one. I don't remember if he killed one. Ended up stabbing both of them. Stabbed one in the eye and one in the throat.
Jeez.
Defending this woman, he gets 2 attempted murders.
Oh, my gosh.
So then they put him away for life. California, 3 strikes, you're gone. Yeah. So they put him in prison. He's like, I was just helping a woman. I fucked up when I was younger, but now I'm defending this woman that's being raped in an alley. I catch two attempted murder charges. Now he gets put away for life. He goes to the prison system and then it immediately gets sucked in. He's like, I'm here for life. I gotta find my groove. Yeah. Fully tatted from eyeballs to toenails. I think he was like 9 years in, 10 years in, and all of a sudden one day they're like, hey, we're paroling you because California overnumbers, and they're like, we re-looked over your case. He's like, what the fuck do I do? Like, I can't survive. I don't know how to survive. He made it work. I mean, he's one of those was a success story until he lost his life, but it's like he got nothing. Nobody did anything for him. He had to figure it all on his own. Look how many of these guys come out 10, 15 years later. They don't even know what a phone is. They don't even, like, cars are what now? I mean, you got to think for these people, like, life, the world stopped. At that moment, stopped for them. And then all of a sudden, imagine you're just fast forward 15 years and you got to fit in.
I know. As a felon?
As a felon that you can't even get a job now?
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. Like, I commend the people that try to help and give felons jobs and when they come out and all that stuff. Like, they need that because then they just end up right back in the system. But that goes back to if we truly cared for everybody like we claim, right? Yeah. Why I'm sure there is, but why are we just tossing these dudes back to the streets? Yeah. Because the state knows Oh, he'll be back in a month.
Yeah.
He'll be back. Oh, you're back again. I mean, how many guys? I mean, you're max. It's a little bit different, but how many guys would come and then you see him right back?
Bro, it wasn't even, it was that. It was also how many people would have like father, brothers, like in max together. It was like the family business.
Really?
Yes, dude. Like I saw that so much. Like
I've never heard that. That's
crazy,
interesting,
dude. It's heartbreaking. Like your whole family tree is
in here.
Like your dad, your uncle, your brother, like, and they're all gangbangers, dude. You know, it's just, yeah, you're doomed, man. Back on the mental health thing, one of the rewarding things, I guess I haven't really touched. I've touched on a lot of bad things, but like there's some rewarding things, right? Guys, severe mental health guys who couldn't even tell you what day it was, like living on another planet, were so out of control, so violent, and we would get a judge's order to force medicate them, right? So that means like, same thing, like use any force. I don't care how you do it, but you medicate these guys. And so we would go in, wrestle them, hold them down, get a nurse in, put a shot in them, and we'd have to do that like multiple times.
God.
Bro, I'm telling you, it works. Like
Really?
we'd get these guys who couldn't even speak. Like it was like the devil in a man's body.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks later, you're sitting there having a conversation with them and they're completely like, they're all there. And they would thank you. They'd be like, dude, I know I was a shit and like you guys kicked my ass and I deserved it, but like, thank you, because now it's all coming together that like they're realizing, oh, I'm in prison. Oh, I'm like, they didn't even know, like they couldn't even comprehend their situation. That to me is rewarding. I know that's crazy like, it sounds crazy, but like that keeps him safe. That keeps my friends safe. Like we're doing a service to like the facility as a whole. It's just crazy, man. Prisons are so crazy.
They really are. It's
crazy.
It's a very interesting world and how it all works, and the money and the corruption and just the lack of empathy, and it's just they're just numbers. Yeah. And it's just a revolving door to make money, and
it's both staff and inmates. It's a revolving door.
Oh my God.
I think one of the last things I want to say, man, because I could talk about this forever.
I'll just have you back.
I got a phone call. I'd been out of prisons for probably at least 5 years. And I got a phone call one day from one of the admin. And they're like, we want you to go do a story for CBS. I think it was CBS. And I'm like, what? Like, I've been out of this for 5 years, man. And they were like, well, like it's about, post-traumatic stress. And they're like, we want to like try and bring awareness to post-traumatic stress in prisons. And I'm like, wait, what? What are you talking about? And they're like, well, yeah, it's like, and I just had no idea. And they're like, start rattling off all these statistics about like suicide rates among staff and post-traumatic stress and self-injury and alcoholism and all these divorce. And and I'm like, well, I knew all that was going on, but I just guess I'd never heard it quantified like that, And I've always been so cautious to say anything about it. Yeah. Because in some way in my mind, I've always felt like if I bring it up, either in talking about myself or like on behalf of someone else, that it somehow diminishes somebody else's story.
Okay.
Right. So if you were to say like, if you were to tell me a story and say like, yeah, I did this when I was a Marine and like this happened to us and all these guys, like we struggle with this. Like, I wouldn't tell you anything about what I did because I don't want to diminish your experience. Like I felt like I didn't have the ability to speak on it because what I was doing, what I went through somehow was less than what everyone else was going through. And I felt like that for years. And then in talking to them, they were just like, that is the reason why it's such a problem, is the people 100%. Who are in it don't understand how bad it is. And they're like, you've been out of it for long enough that like you can look back and be like, oh, this was screwed up. Like, sure. This was bad. Like, this was bad. For sure. We did a lot of crazy stuff. This was bad. And they're like, you did more of it than anybody. Who can speak on it? And you're willing to speak on it. And so I did. And so I think that's just one of the last things I want to say is like, I want people to feel like they can speak up and like talk to
100%.
people.
100%.
I never did. I never talked to
festers,
anybody.
and that shit festers, and
Yeah,
it
dude.
builds, and it rots.
It sucks, man.
It becomes cancer, and I feel that's a problem, especially in men,
Yeah.
because we I don't know where it comes from. I've talked about it a few times on this
Yeah.
podcast with other dudes that have had like great breakthroughs that have gone
Yeah.
through some pretty shitty times. And I don't know where it stems from in the male culture where we
Yeah.
can't talk about the shit. I don't, it's just I don't. It's the Joe Rogans, the Andrew Tates, all these wannabe alpha dudes. But it's and then at the same time, then you get guys like yourself, law enforcement officers that, oh, I wasn't military. I didn't go through what the guys in the military did.
Yeah.
Which most people don't even realize. Like less than 1% of military actually like see combat.
Right.
And those guys are even bottling it. And it's like I that's one thing that I have learned on this podcast, sitting and talking to people. It does not matter what you have done, especially in the law enforcement, first responder world, paramedics, firefighters, correctional officers, cops. The shit y'all have to deal with on a daily basis is nothing compared to the military people. I'll say it. I know I'll catch some flack for it. And granted, my military experience is nothing compared to a lot of dudes that lost a lot. I'm not taking anything away from them. Those guys have been through a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just talking as a whole. 90%, 99% of military don't do fuck all.
Yeah.
But then you look at a cop, correctional officer, you're dealing with death every single day. You're dealing with the nastiest, the worst, the angriest, the most violent, the sick, everything. Our first responders, and I'm wrapping everybody under one umbrella, deal with 1,000 times more just shit than our military does. And I have no problem defending that. And that's one thing I learned since launching this podcast, because, oh, fuck, we're vets. Fuck, I got my deployments in. You ain't shit. You ain't shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. Cops got to go every day.
Yeah.
Cool. We did our little pumps. We go over 8, 9, 10 months, do a year. Army does longer. Then we get to come home.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
every day.
No time to decompress.
Every day.
Yeah.
You get 2 days off?
Yeah.
Cool. Ain't shit.
Sometimes 8 hours. Yeah.
And it goes for all of our first responders, man. It's and nobody talks about it. And that's why it's so strange to me that like law enforcement, all of our, I'm just saying first responders as an umbrella, wrap up all of them. The fact that there's no VA, there's no mental health. I mean, there's little programs and there's shit here. How many charities are out there for fucking correctional officers?
I don't know if any,
They're
dude.
offering dudes that are like dealing with death and violence every single day.
Nobody cares. Yeah.
No one cares. But it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why is the military glamorized? Because we're going to a foreign country, invading a country that doesn't even want us there, and we wonder why they're fighting us back? No shit.
Bro, we didn't even have like services available to us like in the prisons until probably like 3 years in. You know, we were like 3 years in, and they were kind of like, we should probably like do something for these guys.
Our suicide rate's climbing inside with our COs. Like,
This is how crazy this is. So like a dude commits suicide, go home. I don't know why. I never really had nightmares, but I have nightmares this night, and it's like about what happened. So I have all these nightmares, can't sleep. It's like messing with my head. I'm coming into work and I'm just like, ugh, show up and they're like, hey, we want to have like a mandatory debrief. This is like our idea of like some therapy for you guys. I'm like, okay, cool. Like,
mandatory.
sign me up.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like, I don't know, that kind of sucked. It's like, I kind of feel like I do need to talk to somebody. It'd be great. So like I get in there and it's like a fellow coworker, first of all. So I'm like, I ain't about to say shit to you because you don't need to, know.
You don't need to know my shit.
Right. And then it's everybody else who responded. So we're like sitting in a circle. It's like me, these 2 other dudes, and then this other staff member. And the staff member's kind of like, all right, so like, well, that was crazy. Like, let's talk about it. Like, are you guys doing okay And I'm thinking in my head, like, I'm not doing that good. like, dude.
No, I'm not good, but I can't say shit.
Yeah, I'm like, man, usually this stuff doesn't bother me. I've done it hundreds of times, right? I've seen dead people. Like, it doesn't bother me. Last night bothered me. I couldn't sleep. I was having nightmares. I was like, it was screwing with my head, like the whole way to work. Like, I don't want to be here right now. Like, I'm probably going to go punch the first person I can to take some of this out. Like, this is not good. Like, no. And I'm like, I probably shouldn't say any of this. So I'm like, and so they're like, let's talk about it. And the two guys next to me kind of start laughing, and they're like, no, screw that guy. Like, we're glad he's gone. And the other guy's like, yeah, me too. Like, one less mouth to feed, And I'm kind of like, yeah, me too. Right? Yeah, screw that guy. Yeah, we're good. And they're like, all right, cool. Like, you guys are good to go. Like, everyone's good to go back to work. And I'm like, mandatory therapy, check. Like,
the box.
That was it, And yeah, man. So that I know I said the last thing I want to say, and then I said all that, but like, that really is the last thing, man. Just talk to somebody, man. Talk to people. My wife never wanted to hear it. She still doesn't. Even coming over here, she was like, don't say anything,
I think it's healthy, though.
I have to, man. I have to.
I feel like these conversations are great for a lot of people that we've had on, because it's just a place to be able to come and, like, granted, there's gonna be a lot of people to listen to these what we're saying. So it shows the reality of trauma. It shows the reality of the stress and the anger and the hate and everything that we carry. Yeah. And I see it a lot in our law enforcement, in our first responders, man. You guys carry a lot of weight every day, and no one gives a shit. And it's unfortunate.
And I think the beauty of the whole thing is, like, the majority of people I don't expect to understand. Like, I don't. I think people are probably gonna listen to a lot of this and be like, "This dude's an asshole." Like, I've gotten that my whole life, like my whole career. But like, there's that 1% of people that are gonna hear it and be like, "Yeah,
100% no."
Yeah, I get it, dude. Like,
because they're the ones in the trenches.
They're the ones. Yeah,
they're the ones working a max security for 15 years and getting shit and piss thrown on them. Bro, I couldn't even imagine. Like, if somebody threw shit on me at work,
just gassed you,
I'm fucking done. Like, I don't care what my pay is. And then to know what corrections officers are making, fuck, I'm what is it? How High, the movie? Fuck you. Fuck, I'm out, dude. Like, not worth it. I'd rather go panhandle on the street.
Seriously, dude.
More money.
Yeah.
I'd rather go flip burgers.
Gosh, dude.
But then it's just like, well,
who's gonna do it?
It's crazy.
I loved it, man.
I'm sure, dude.
I still tell people it's the best job I ever had.
Most fun job.
I don't know if there's another person out there that would speak as highly about corrections as I would. I will tell you, I think anybody who's interested, do it. Yeah. It's the best job I ever had. Most rewarding thing I ever did. Man, do you have 5 more minutes?
Yeah, bro.
All right, listen. Before I went to the Department of Corrections, Bam, I was immature. I had quit everything difficult I'd ever done. Anytime anything in my life got hard, I gave up. I quit because I'd never had to battle for anything my whole life. It was always easy and it was given to me. I was weak-minded. I was scared. I was all those things. When I went to work for the Department of Corrections and I saw the first time that guy came out on the tier, and I was like, I want to be like that dude. How do I become that? And then I saw the gauntlet I had to go to get there. Like the training, the hours, the fight, all the things. I had to do that. Like, I wanted to quit multiple times, but I wanted to be like that more. Mm-hmm. It taught me so much about myself, dude. I use more that I learned in corrections on a daily basis than I do from my undergrad, my master's degree, any other job I've ever had. Corrections taught me more about talking to people, working with people, working as a team, working with people I don't like, working with people that are underskilled, can't, like, zero talent, can't, like, just mouth breathers, right? Yeah. Like, working with those people, dude, it was the best thing I ever did. Yeah. Best thing I ever did. And I did it for $13 an hour for 4.5 years. Best thing I ever did.
You just described the Marine Corps. To the T. You actually probably were making.
There we go.
We never had hours. It was just nonstop. We were probably making way less than $13 an hour.
Yeah.
Man, I really appreciate this conversation, man. Yeah. This was a good one. I think it's gonna open a lot of eyes on what the hell actually goes on in a maximum security prison. Like, I love talking to any of these types of things.
If I set up a tour, would you come out and go see it?
Fuck yeah, I would.
I'll try and do that. I used to do it all the time.
I would love to.
I will the warden, I think he's the warden, and not deputy warden, is a really close friend of mine.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can set it up.
Love to.
They might, after this airs, they might not let me. They might,
Let's do it before
you're
then.
shunned. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll do it before.
it'd be awesome though. I think we could pull it off.
Oh,
It'd be awesome.
100% down. I'd just like to see it. I've never
Chrissy,
been
you're
in that
invited
environment.
too.
Hell no, am I letting you walk in there?
Oh, that would be so bad.
Hell no. No, she hears enough on this freaking podcast.
Oh my gosh, thank
Dude,
you.
Thank you again, man. I appreciate it. This is great. I appreciate you being vulnerable and talking about some things that, you know, you've been sitting on for a while.
Yeah.
And whole point of this show, man, is to have this conversation.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, dude.
All right.
Fucking A.
Loud chaos, baby. Holy cow! I thought we were maybe like 2 hours into it. I had no idea.
Every single person.
Chrissy, are you
Every
just
single
like,
person.
I'm so sorry. Were you just like, will you shut up? Like,
No, not at